Chapter 358, Chapter 165 Breakthrough to Cave Void Realm /2. Jian Ruyu was straightforward and hugged Liu Ningxuang, his eyes smiling. I've been cultivating recently. How about you, Ningxuang? Liu Ningxuang felt uncomfortable being held like this, especially with a junior brother watching. She broke free from Jian Ruyu's embrace. I've been cultivating as well. Then Liu Ningxuang sensed something. Her eyes widened, and a wave of emotion surged through her cold eyes as she looked at Jian Ruyu. Your cultivation base. Jian Ruyu smiled. I've broken through to the cave void realm. At these words, Liu Ningxuang was somewhat astonished. You've reached the cave void. How did it happen so quickly? Jian Ruyu looked a bit embarrassed and glanced at Lu Yi, then said, It's all thanks to junior brother. He gave me a sword heart fruit which allowed me to transform into an immortal body. Liu Ningxuang. She looked over at Lu Yi ominously. Junior brother, how come I wasn't aware of this? Lu Yi chuckled awkwardly. Ha ha ha, well, it wasn't really a big deal. Suddenly, Liu Ningxuang thought of something and asked, Could it be that Yunzai was able to form an immortal body because of you too? Previously, Liu Ningxuang hadn't considered this. But now, with Jian Ruyu's precedent, she immediately thought of Yunzai's sudden transformation into an immortal body right after Lu Yi's visit to the 10,000 Flowers sect. What? The immortal body from the 10,000 Flowers sect is also because of junior brother. Jian Ruyu also widened her eyes, looking towards Lu Yi. The emergence of an immortal body from the 10,000 Flowers sect had shocked the entire Tianming. Even Jian Ruyu, who was in seclusion at the Divine Sword sect at the time, heard about it, but she never imagined that the immortal body was also created by her junior brother. Facing the intense gaze of the two, Lu Yi felt a chill on his neck. He cleared his throat and said, I did indeed give Yunzai a 9-colored bellflower. 9-colored bellflower. Both Liu Ningxuang and Jian Ruyu's pupils contracted in shock. The 9-colored bellflower that has only appeared 3 times throughout the history of Tianming, Jian Ruyu exclaimed, her eyes wide. Such a treasure, and you just gave it away, junior brother. Liu Ningxuang looked deeply at Lu Yi. Lu Yi cleared his throat and said, It was a serendipitous find. It's not very useful to me, but it's perfect for Yunzai. Hearing this, both Liu Ningxuang and Jian Ruyu fell silent. Especially Liu Ningxuang, who felt tremendous pressure. While she was originally stronger than Jian Ruyu, now that Jian Ruyu had transformed into an immortal body and broken through to the cave void realm, surpassing her. And there was also Yunzai, who had similarly transformed into an immortal body and was catching up fast. Liu Ningxuang felt besieged on all sides, fearing that if things continued this way, her power would fall behind, and she wouldn't even be able to compete with Ruyu and Yunzai, let alone chase after junior brother. Liu Ningxuang glanced at Jian Ruyu, who was also looking at their junior brother with questionable eyes. Thinking about Yunzai's situation, Liu Ningxuang secretly clenched her teeth, fearing that Ruyu might be the same as Yunzai. Liu Ningxuang was filled with a sense of crisis and thought she should perhaps take the initiative. At least that way, she might still come out on top. The moment she had this thought, Liu Ningxuang herself was startled. Where did such a thought come from? It's all junior brother's fault. Seeing Liu Ningxuang's serious expression, Lu Yi comforted. Sister, in a few days I'll go out and see. Perhaps, by a lucky coincidence, I'll find an immortal treasure suitable for you, and then sister will definitely become an immortal body too. Liu Ningxuang, upon hearing this, looked at Lu Yi and spoke solemnly. Immortal treasures are extremely rare and precious, sometimes not seen in 1,000,000 years. Junior brother, you've acquired 2 kinds already. That's already incredibly fortunate. How could you possibly find them continuously? Lu Yi, however, felt that as his cultivation base improved and he encountered stronger targets on tasks, obtaining other immortal treasures wouldn't be too difficult. Sooner or later, he would find heavenly materials and earthly treasures that matched his senior sister. Of course, Lu Yi found it inappropriate to say this out loud to Liu Ningxuang, so he just smiled. I think my luck is still pretty good, maybe I really will find one. Liu Ningxuang gave a faint smile, neither agreeing nor disagreeing. She turned to Jian Ruyu and asked, Ruyu, how did you come to White Cloud sect? Jian Ruyu smiled. I am planning to train at the Sea Clan battlefield and thought I'd come to see you all first. Upon hearing this, Liu Ningxuang was taken aback. Then after a moment of thought, she said, I'll go with you. Upon hearing this, both Lu Yi and Jian Ruyu were startled, wide-eyed. Lu Yi asked, Sister, you want to go too? Liu Ningxuang nodded slightly, giving a slight smile. I've been in seclusion recently, lacking crisis and lacking battle, with some stagnation in insights. I need to train and see different scenes. If this were before, Liu Ningxuang might not have such thoughts, and even now with some stagnation in her insights, her cultivation speed was still faster than before, especially since Lu Yi gave her plenty of heavenly materials and earthly treasures. But now, with Jian Ruyu and Yunzai both having transformed into immortal bodies, Liu Ningxuang felt immense pressure and couldn't allow her insights to slow down. Jian Ruyu's eyes lit up and she smiled. This is naturally for the best. It's good to have each other's company, just like the old days. Liu Ningxuang nodded slightly, Seeing Liu Ningxuang's resolute expression, Lu Yi fell silent. To be honest, he was still somewhat worried for Liu Ningxuang, as her cultivation base was only at the divinity transformation realm. Whether facing a tribulation crossing great power or even a great Mahayana power, it would be extremely dangerous. Chapter 359, 165, Breaking Through the Cave Void Realm 3. Chapter 359, Chapter 165, Breaking Through the Cave Void Realm /3. The Sea Clan battlefield, even for the senior sister, was a perilous place. However, Lu Yi naturally respected the senior sister's choice. She had her thoughts, and he couldn't impose his own completely on her, forcing her to act according to his consciousness. Lu Yi thought for a moment and then smiled. Since senior sister and senior sister Ruyu both plan to go to the Sea Clan battlefield, I have some heavenly materials and earthly treasures here, along with some talismans, cultivation treasures, and elixirs that would be useful for you. You should take them. Upon hearing this, Liu Ningxuang and Jian Ruyu exchanged glances, both not refusing. Both had already tacitly consented, and had no reason to refuse. Lu Yi took out various talismans, elixirs, heavenly materials and earthly treasures and cultivation treasures. Over the years, Lu Yi had not ceased cultivating the true fire refining technique. He now could even refine low-grade spiritual artifacts. As for materials, thanks to the monthly trial tower task, tasks assigned by the master, and the occasional practice tasks, he continuously received various rewards of treasures suitable even for those of the cave void and unification realm. Lu Yi was not lacking in materials for refining low-grade spiritual artifacts, having already refined a few. Together with those awarded for tasks, Lu Yi selected suitable low-grade spiritual artifacts to give to Jian Ruyu and Liu Ningxuang. Even though Jian Ruyu and Liu Ningxuang were mentally prepared, seeing so many treasures made their eyes widen in shock. Isn't this too much? Jian Ruyu looked at the moonlight-colored long sword in her hand, caressing it lovingly. Liu Ningxuang held a big seal formed of Quenbing, her face also filled with affection. Both their interspatial rings were filled with many fine items, some of which were extremely good even by Lu Yi's current standards. Lu Yi smiled and said, "The Sea Clan battlefield is dangerous. If I didn't provide you with some life-saving means, I would be very worried." Hearing Lu Yi's words, Jian Ruyu and Liu Ningxuang both felt a warmth in their hearts, tinged with sweetness. Liu Ningxuang gave a gentle smile. "These are life-saving means. Even if we faced a great Mahayana power, we would have a chance to defeat them now." Jian Ruyu nodded repeatedly. Lu Yi smiled, safety first. Got it? Jian Ruyu and Liu Ningxuang glanced at each other, both smiling. Both were very happy with Lu Yi's concern. Not long after, a rainbow streak crossed the sky, landing in front of the trio. It was Fang Tianyao. This sword sect tribulation crossing ancestor who had led the team at the Immortal sword sect ruins looked at Lu Yi, then Jian Ruyu, and finally at Liu Ningxuang, a hint of disappointment showing on his face as he spoke. "Ruyu girl, when you had me fooled, I thought you were planning to dual cultivate with Kiddo Lu just this." Faced with Fang Tianyao's unpredictable words, Lu Yi stiffened, Jian Ruyu's cheeks flushed slightly, and Liu Ningxuang, sensing something, grew cold as she scrutinized Lu Yi and Jian Ruyu, her eyes filled with examination. Although Lu Yi already knew early on that Fang Tianyao was unpredictable, his head still filled with black lines. Noticing Liu Ningxuang's gaze, he hurriedly said, "Senior sister, we really are dual cultivating." Jian Ruyu's cheeks blushed slightly, she also nodded lightly, "Yes, we're not." Liu Ningxuang's expression then relaxed slightly. Seeing Fang Tianyao about to say something else, Lu Yi quickly spoke, "Greetings to Senior Fang." Fang Tianyao nodded at Lu Yi, then smiled. "Long time no see, almost reaching the cave void realm, your cultivation speed is truly fast. You must be strong too. worthy of being the little monster that even an immortal praised. Lu Yi smiled, "Senior overpraises me." Jian Ruyu also spoke, "Old ancestor Tianyao, let's go. Ningxuang will go with us." Fang Tianyao glanced at Liu Ningxuang, a bit surprised but didn't say much, just nodding, "All right." Then Fang Tianyao cast another glance toward the direction of Ling Luo Peak, smiling at Lu Yi. "Give my regards to your master." Lu Yi, a bit surprised that Fang Tianyao knew his master, thought for a moment, but then, realizing the good relationship between Ling Luo Peak Master and the Divine Sword Sect, and considering his master's possibly terrifying strength, it wasn't strange for Fang Tianyao to know him. "Of course, Senior Fang, I'll definitely tell my master," Lu Yi nodded. Liu Ningxuang hesitated, then stepped forward to hug Lu Yi, a tinge of blush appearing on her face. Then she smiled at Lu Yi. "Junior brother, continue your cultivation well." Lu Yi hadn't expected the senior sister to hug him. He was initially stunned but then recovered and smiled. Senior sister, be careful." Liu Ningxuang nodded. Then the three transformed into beams of light and left White Cloud Sect. Lu Yi watched as the beams of light disappeared into the horizon, feeling emotional. Never expected that even the senior sister and senior sister Ruyu would head to the Sea Clan battlefield. Ling Luo Peak has become even more deserted. Now only he, the junior sister, and the master were left at the peak. Lu Yi shook his head and returned to the cave mansion, continuing his cultivation. Better rush to break through to the cave void realm. Thus, Lu Yi resumed his normal, stable cultivation state. 3 years later, Lu Yi broke through to the 11th layer of divinity transformation. 6 years later, he broke through to the 12th layer, and 8 years later, he successfully broke through to the 13th layer of divinity transformation. After another 15 years, Lu Yi reached the peak of the 13th layer of divinity transformation. At that moment, Lu Yi could break through to the cave void realm. Lu Yi sat cross-legged in the cultivation room. Beside him, the Rashomon ancient tree looking as if it was crafted from Zhu Yu, emitting a faint blood-colored radiance, with an immensely mysterious Tao Yun circulating, releasing an incredibly rich spiritual energy, causing the whole cultivation room to be enveloped in a white fog. Lu Yi inwardly mused, "I will break through to the cave void realm." Task: break through to the cave void realm. Reward: 1 enlightenment tea tree seed, 100 pounds of enlightenment tea, a top-grade spiritual artifact breaking void boat, secret technique, small void technique, and specific skill level +3. Accept task, yes, no. Update first, revise later tilde. Chapter 360-166, This Guy is Defying the Heavens. Chapter 360, Chapter 166, This Guy is Defying the Heavens. Seeds of the Enlightenment Tea Tree. Lu Yi's eyes brightened, and his heart surged with joy. The leaves of the Enlightenment Tea themselves are extremely precious. Although Lu Yi had received numerous rewards after each breakthrough, as his cultivation base had grown, the time needed to break through a great realm had increased, and he had begun to feel somewhat stretched thin. With the seeds of the Enlightenment Tea Tree, he could cultivate his own tree, which was naturally a wonderful thing. And this time, the reward of Enlightenment Tea leaves was a full 100 kilograms, which made Lu Yi very happy. With so many Enlightenment Tea leaves, he could once again immerse himself in comprehension for a while. Lu Yi accepted the task, and then began his cultivation. As his cultivation base grew higher, the pressure from the heavenly Tao at the bottleneck became increasingly formidable. At this moment, Lu Yi felt the immensely terrifying pressure from the heavenly Tao, as if heaven and earth were pouring down upon him while he broke through from the divinity transformation realm to the cave void realm. However, each time Lu Yi broke through, he shattered the 3 heavenly restrictions, gradually enhancing his own will. Even facing the catastrophic pressure of heaven and earth collapsing, Lu Yi remained composed. The nascent soul within Lu Yi released terrifying spiritual energy like a tsunami, which, channeled through the immortal sword seed, transformed into immortal sword qi and charged at the elusive bottleneck. The roaring sounds followed the impact of the sword qi continuously. The bottleneck transitioning from the divinity transformation to cave void realm was as solid as a rock. Lu Yi's immortal sword qi, containing a strand of immortal law and imbued with 50% understanding of the sword domain, still felt like a mere water droplet against the solid rock, despite its power. Breaking the bottleneck was a prolonged process. Lu Yi was not the least bit impatient, his mindset very stable. He gradually absorbed spiritual energy, condensed the immortal sword qi, and continued impacting the bottleneck. Thus, after more than 2 months, a faint sound made Lu Yi's spirit tremble. Having broken through many bottlenecks before, Lu Yi naturally understood that this sound indicated the appearance of a crack in the bottleneck. Without hesitation, Lu Yi took out the Tao essence awarded for shattering the heavenly restrictions. It was a palm-sized crystal, shimmering with colorful lights, containing complex and innate Tao patterns, emanating a mysterious Tao Yun. Without a second thought, Lu Yi absorbed the Tao essence into his body. Threads of dense Tao essence, filled with countless innate Tao patterns, merged into Lu Yi's body. Lu Yi's body became translucent, shimmering with a rainbow glow, his physique appearing transparent, revealing clear bones and organs. Lu Yi's bones were as crystalline as white jade, and his organs were like individual gems, radiating a gentle luminescence. The dense innate Tao patterns, spreading with the Tao essence, branded themselves on every inch of Lu Yi's body, starting a transformation. Each breakthrough brought about significant changes for Lu Yi through the Tao essence. It was a transformation from the inside out, starting from the very origin. Lu Yi's body, wrapped in the Tao, was transforming towards something far beyond an immortal body. It was a physique in harmony with the Tao. As the Tao essence was absorbed by Lu Yi, the colorful mists in his dantian roiled. Dense colorful mists slowly surfaced around Lu Yi's body, and his nascent soul began to capture the sounds of the Tao, with mysterious Tao Yun appearing. Lu Yi, filled with the rich essence of the Tao, charged toward the bottleneck again. If the bottleneck had been intact, such Tao essence might not have been enough to break through in one attempt, potentially wasting the precious Tao essence. But now, with a crack already present, the bottleneck could hardly withstand the terrifying spiritual energy wrapped in the Tao. Amidst the booming sound, Lu Yi felt completely transparent, as if stepping into a new world. Everything had changed from before. Though his eyes were closed, he could distinctly sense the veins of the surrounding world, feel the emotions of heaven and earth, and detect the pulse of all living things. The cave void realm is where one clarifies heaven and earth, reversing the void into reality. The most direct manifestation for cultivators reaching this realm is the mastery of conception as a manifestation of the power of heaven and earth, controllable in the cave void realm, naturally because one can perceive heaven and earth. Through this perception, a cave void cultivator grasps the power of heaven and earth, gradually achieving heavenly unity with the universe. As cultivators progress from cave void to unification, and then to the immortal Tao Great Mahayana realm, they transform conception into a domain, initially integrating with heaven and earth, beginning to realize heavenly unity. Cultivators integrate with heaven and earth, achieving a state of great freedom. Originally, Lu Yi had not reached the cave void realm. Although he had comprehended various conceptions and mastered multiple domains, he was not yet a cave void cultivator. At the moment of his breakthrough, Lu Yi felt as if the entire heaven and earth were accepting him, embracing him, welcoming him. Lu Yi felt the invisible cry of the entire White Cloud mountain range, heard the ethereal sounds of the sky, a welcome. The nascent soul inside Lu Yi resonated with this realm. Tao Mi became more attuned to the Tao, and Lu Yi's consciousness seemed to swim freely in a dazzling sea interwoven with Tao and reason. This was Tao Mi's perception of the Tao. In Lu Yi's spirit sea, the golden sea of consciousness boiled and expanded, transforming from its original pond size, growing continuously, and becoming an ocean. In the central area of the ocean, which seemed connected to heaven and earth, pieces of golden clouds flowed, with golden thunder flickering. With a thought, Lu Yi's primordial spirit condensed and stepped out of his physical body. Now Lu Yi's primordial spirit had a tangible form. He could even touch and feel real objects. Chapter 361, 166, This Guy is Defying the Heavens too. Chapter 361, Chapter 166, This Guy is Defying the Heavens /2. After breaking through to the cave void realm, Lu Yi's spiritual power could even become tangible, a phenomenon that was profoundly mysterious. A variety of strange epiphanies flowed through Lu Yi's heart. As the ancients said, what one thinks, one achieves. If his spiritual power continued to grow stronger, perhaps he could reach the point where he could use it to alter reality. This was a law and, moreover, a very powerful one. Unfortunately, Lu Yi's spiritual power had not yet reached that level. Lu Yi's primordial spirit stepped forward, transforming into a golden radiance, and re-entered the sea of consciousness within Lu Ye. The next moment, Lu Ye felt a daunting pressure pouring down from the sky and slowly opened his eyes. Having broken the bottleneck of the cave void realm, the heavenly tribulation began to manifest. This heavenly tribulation, even just with its initial momentum, surpassed the one he faced when breaking through to the divinity transformation stage. Lu Ye stepped forward and ascended above the white cloud sect, where the once clear blue sky turned a somber gray. It stretched endlessly, far beyond what the eye could see. Lu Ye felt as if the entire world was being watched by a supreme entity, with a pair of invisible eyes coldly observing him. Lu Ye stepped forward and transformed into a streak of light, instantly flying out of the bounds of the white cloud sect and heading towards the desert area he had previously broken through. And all the cultivators in the white cloud sect were similarly alarmed. Master Wu, King Feng, and other powerful figures immediately flew into the sky. What's going on? Such terrifying celestial pressure, could it be a heavenly condemnation? The powerhouses from Black Jade Peak and Iron Heart sect, experiencing such terrifying celestial pressure for the first time, were extremely startled and their expressions horrified. However, Master Wu, King Feng, and the original powerful cultivators of the White Cloud sect were already accustomed to it, each wearing a knowing expression. Master Wu, King Feng, looking at the former masters of Black Jade Peak and Iron Heart sect and Divinity Transformation cultivators, reassured them with a smile. Do not worry, it must be Nephew Lu beginning his tribulation crossing. Tribulation crossing. The powerful cultivators from Black Jade Peak and Iron Heart sect looked utterly baffled. Such terrifying celestial pressure, is it really a tribulation crossing? It must be so. Nephew Lu has exceptional talent. Every time he crosses a tribulation it causes a great commotion, explained Wu Qingfeng patiently. Hearing this, many cultivators looked at each other. And the elders like Qian, already at the divinity transformation realm, wore a hint of excitement. Let's go take a look. This time I should be able to break through. I also have a premonition. Since the last time, I've felt that I was only one step away. I've been waiting for Kiddo Lu to break through for too long. One after another, divinity transformation cultivators surged with excitement and flew in the direction Lu Ye had departed. Not only the high-ranking members of the White Cloud sect, but even some of the disciples were extremely thrilled. Lu Ye's breakthrough was a significant opportunity for them. However, the cultivators originally from Black Jade Peak and Iron Heart sect were perplexed, unable to understand why everyone was so excited. But since everyone else was going, and now that they belonged to the White Cloud sect, they exchanged glances and followed suit. On Ling Luo Peak Master and Dongong Mingyue also followed. Ever since Liu Ningxuang went to the Sea Clan battlefield, Dongong Mingyue, having heard that Jian Ruyu had also become an immortal, felt a pressing sense of urgency and became deeply engrossed in cultivation. If it weren't for her still rapidly advancing cultivation level, she would have wanted to go to the Sea Clan battlefield as well. Lu Ye reached an area over 2,000 kilometers away from the White Cloud sect before stopping, above a vast desert, much further than the desolate ground where he last underwent the divinity transformation realm breakthrough. In the sky, dark clouds churned and spread rapidly, quickly covering 100 miles, 200 miles, 300 miles. Such a tribulation cloud, which blotted out the sun, turned the desert area into a nightmarish darkness. This left the cultivators from Black Jade Peak and Iron Heart sect, witnessing Lu Ye's breakthrough for the first time, utterly astonished. This must be a joke, right? A divinity transformation cultivator breaking through to the cave void realm has clouds of tribulation stretching over 300 miles. Is this not a tribulation for advancing to the unification realm? Such terrifying pressure from the heavenly Tao is too frightening. Even from this distance, I feel a chill throughout my body, with spiritual energy stagnating. If I were under that tribulation, I probably wouldn't be able to move. Is this the tribulation of the demonically talented person praised even by immortals? We mere mortals are truly far inferior. Many cultivators marveled, immensely awed. Even experienced cultivators like Wu Qingfeng, who had witnessed Lu Ye's divinity transformation thunder tribulation, were terrified upon seeing the still-spreading tribulation clouds. My heavens, it's nearly 400 miles now. When will this end? The tribulation of a typical unification great power only spans about 300 miles. Nephew Lu's cave void thunder tribulation even surpasses that of a typical unification great power. It's unimaginable. With such a tribulation, is Nephew Lu really going to be all right? The powerful figures discussed among themselves. Soon, streaks of purple light appeared in the dark clouds, and at the next moment, a roar of a heavenly dragon resounded through the heavens and earth. Within the clouds, the shadow of a purple dragon was faintly visible. This caused many cultivators to widen their eyes. Is that a true dragon? How could there be a true dragon in the clouds? That's an immortal-level terrifying existence. The cultivators shouted in shock. Just then, an old monster from Black Jade Peak recalled something and spoke up. No, I once read in ancient texts that this seems to be a type of alien thunder tribulation. Heavenly thunder transforming, taking the form of fierce beasts and immortal beasts to annihilate the one undergoing the tribulation. This is more terrifying than transforming into cultivation treasures. Chapter 362, 166 This guy is going against the heavens 3. Chapter 362. Chapter 166, This guy is going against the heavens /3. Hearing this, the cultivators were stunned, then looked at the dragon shadow appearing in the sky with alarm. Heavenly thunder transforming into fierce and immortal beasts. This is too terrifying, isn't it? Can any cultivator really survive such a tribulation? I too have only seen fragments of this in an ancient text. I'm not sure of the specifics myself, the old monster said with murky eyes fixed on Lu Yi, his face filled with wrinkles and an expression of immense shock. Unexpectedly, the legendary mutant thunder tribulation truly exists. I always thought it was merely a myth from ancient times. Hearing the old monster's words, even the strong ones like Wu Qingfeng, who previously were full of confidence, now exhibited looks of concern. From a distance, Donggong Mingyue looked at Lu Yi and expressed concern. Master, will senior brother be all right? Only the Ling Luo Peak Master remained calm, shaking her head. A mere mutant thunder tribulation. What effect could it have on this young man? Hearing Ling Luo Peak Master's words, Donggong Mingyue calmed down and smiled. I knew senior brother is formidable. Roar! Just then, a dragon's roar echoed through the heavens and earth, causing the ears of the cultivators with weaker cultivation bases to buzz, and even some foundation establishment disciples, ears to bleed as they screamed continuously, clutching their ears, nearly falling from the sky. Everyone's eyes widened, staring in terror towards the direction of the dark clouds. A gigantic dragon formed from thunder bellowed as it thrust its body out from the clouds, charging towards Lu Yi. This dragon was immensely large, like a mountain range stretching endlessly, at least tens of kilometers long. The terrifying heavenly Tao pressure emanated from the dragon's body. It merely showed a part of its body, and the intense pressure already made the earth tremble, turning deserts into scorched earth, with hundreds of meters wide cracks appearing and spreading out for hundreds of kilometers, as if a cataclysm had descended upon the world, bringing destruction. In the face of such a colossal heavenly thunder dragon, Lu Yi's human body seemed as insignificant as an ant. The thunderformed dragon roared, opened its mouth, and swallowed Lu Yi in the sky. This caused an immense shock among the cultivators, exclaiming continuously. At this moment, after being swallowed by the dragon, Lu Yi felt an overwhelmingly terrifying thunder power constantly striking his body, like a sea of thunder, engulfing him. Even Lu Yi's body displayed patches of charred marks, and injuries began to appear. However, the flow of the immortal law almost instantaneously healed the injuries as they appeared. Lu Yi, amidst the sea of thunder, used his instances of sudden enlightenment to begin comprehending the essence of heavenly thunder, the immortal law, and the true dragon Tao patterns. This encounter with the thunder dragon transformed from heavenly thunder greatly enlightened Lu Yi. His immortal thunder dragon skill contained the power of heavenly thunder, true dragon power, and the transformation of heavenly thunder into a true dragon, a technique analogous yet divergent. With the immortal law as a foundation, perhaps he could integrate the power of heavenly thunder and true dragon, amalgamate the immortal law, and evolve the essence of the immortal thunder dragon skill to transcend. With this thought, various mysterious Tao patterns emerged in Lu Yi's mind, each continuously reshaping and then dissipating. This was Lu Yi projecting new versions of the immortal thunder dragon skill, repeatedly experimenting and making errors. However, as Lu Yi continually consumed enlightenment tea, his comprehension had reached a high level, and under sudden enlightenment, His Tao Mi also recuperated, with Tao sounds continuously chanting. Lu Yi's ideas about the immortal thunder dragon technique kept improving as time passed. A new Tao pattern appeared, intricate and mysterious, embodying unfathomable intricacies, holding immortal intent, the destructive essence of heavenly thunder, and likewise carrying the Tao patterns of the true dragon. The Tao pattern flickered uncertainly, and eventually transformed into a stream of light that merged into Lu Yi's forehead. With a thought, the thunder patterns on Lu Yi's body surface slowly dissipated, interweaving with the true dragon Tao patterns. Eventually, arcs of thunder emerged on his body, and around him, purple dragon shadows slowly congealed and roared. Lu Yi's skin was as white as jade, no longer marked with thunder patterns, but the strength of his flesh had increased significantly. A new immortal thunder dragon technique was born. A terrifying aura like that of a fierce beast emanated from Lu Yi. From afar, the Ling Luo Peak Master sensed the aura within the thunder dragon. Her previously sleepy eyes now held a trace of astonishment as she murmured, "This young man, every breakthrough brings me a surprise. With this aura he might indeed deduce the immortal scriptures. To deduce immortal scriptures in the mortal realm, this young man is defying the heavens." At this thought, even the Ling Luo Peak Master found it incredible. This was even more astonishing than Lu Yi's grasp of a strand of the immortal law. To sense and deduce are two different matters. There are those who have sensed the laws without becoming immortals. But to deduce a cultivation technique that surpasses one's own realm, even as high as the immortal scriptures in the mortal realm, was unimaginable even to the Ling Luo Peak Master. The heavenly thunder had not yet ended, and a group of cultivators watched the true dragon from a distance. The cultivators of White Cloud sect were somewhat expectant, waiting for the Enlightenment Tao light to appear, while the original cultivators from Black Jade Peak and the Iron Heart sect wore faces of horror, finding Lu Yi's heavenly tribulation hard to believe. Just then a hazy Tao light condensed, imbued with an incredible hue, viewed differently by each observer. From within the Tao light, every cultivator could perceive principles related to themselves. "It's here." The cultivators of White Cloud sect's eyes sparkled, filled with immense joy. Meanwhile, the cultivators from Black Jade Peak and the Iron Heart sect looked bewildered and shocked by the Tao light. "What is this? I feel like I have a new understanding of arts and cultivation techniques. What's going on?" The cultivators exclaimed repeatedly, and then they saw the disciples of White Cloud sect already immersed in enlightenment, and they understood why these disciples were as happy as if they themselves had made a breakthrough. If Lu Yi generated such Tao light with each breakthrough, they would be happy too. The cultivators from Black Jade Peak and the Iron Heart sect no longer delayed, and likewise fell into enlightenment. In the heavens and the earth, only the thunder dragon roared. Lu Yi was located within the belly of the thunder dragon, wrapped in the thunder sea. After condensing the new immortal true dragon technique, the heavenly tribulation had not ended, nor had his sudden enlightenment. Lu Yi immediately began to perceive other aspects. He originally had no clue how to deduce a great Mahayana formation of his own, but now, positioned within the thunder dragon, Lu Yi had found direction. He resolved to use this opportunity to deduce the great Mahayana formation. Update first, revise later tilde. Chapter 363, 167, Deduction of the Great Mahayana Formation, 1,600 monthly tickets plus. Chapter 363. Chapter 167, Deduction of the Great Mahayana Formation, 1,600 monthly tickets plus. Lu Yi's direction of speculation was to merge the heavenly thunder transformation with his own understanding of the sword Tao, calling down heavenly thunder to forge 10,000 swords, carrying the immense awe of the heavenly Tao to slay his enemies. Following the absorption of the task reward for deducing the unification array, Lu Yi's array Tao realm had become even stronger, even surpassing the practitioners of the array Tao at the Mahayana realm. However, even with such an array mastery, it would be extremely difficult to deduce a great array of the Mahayana realm on his own. Without that flash of spirit light, even 1,000 years might not suffice. At this moment, Lu Yi, amidst the heavenly tribulation and in a state of sudden enlightenment, had a sufficient opportunity. Lu Yi was immersed in the thunder sea, his eyes tracing array patterns line by line, incredibly complex and dense. To say nothing of mortals, even low-level array Tao practitioners who saw them might have their divine sense thrown into disorder and spiral into madness. For cultivators, encountering Taoist skills and reason that were too profound too early was not necessarily a good thing. They might easily be captivated by the Tao, completely assimilate into the Tao, and descent into madness. Of course, for Lu Yi, this wasn't a problem. As the array patterns continued to be drawn, a vast and incredibly mysterious great array emerged and filled his vision. Time passed, and after a long while all cultivators were immersed in the Tao light, contemplating their own Taoist skills, the dark clouds in the sky suddenly began to fluctuate. Underneath the flowing Tao light, array patterns surfaced, flashing in and out of existence, continuously sketched until they finally coalesced into a great array that spanned over 100 kilometers. The great array was positioned below the thunderclouds, glimmering with flowing light. The thunderclouds seemed attracted to it, and in the next instant, bolts of thunder light began to flicker. It was as if the heavenly thunder was beyond anyone's control, pouring down as a thunder sea. Boom, boom, boom. Clang, clang, clang. The thunder light entered the great array, finally transforming into countless long swords. The purple long swords were dense and numerous, amounting to tens of thousands, covering the sky. This transformation was naturally noticed by the Ling Luo Peak Master immediately. Lu Yi's Tao light was effective even on her, but her enlightenment state was shallow, so the effects were not particularly good. The moment the great array coalesced, the Ling Luo Peak Master opened her eyes. After seeing the flickering array patterns in the sky and the condensed thunder light long swords, she paused, then her expression grew even more bizarre. This great array, it actually uses heavenly thunder for its own use. Did this kid deduce it himself? The Ling Luo Peak Master's mouth twitched as she looked at Lu Yi still amid the thunder dragon, with a full head of black lines. What's with this kid? He has epiphanies every time he crosses the tribulation, and each time the insights he gains are more and more outrageous. Just entering the cave void realm and already deducing a great Mahayana array, this naturally held a very high difficulty. Fortunately, the Ling Luo Peak Master had become accustomed to it due to Lu Yi's prior insight into the new Immortal Thunder Dragon skill, making it easier to accept. However, the other cultivators who were disturbed looked at the sky filled with thunder light long swords, and they were all incredibly shocked. Their horizons naturally weren't as broad as the Ling Luo Peak Master's, and they hadn't noticed Lu Yi's previous insight into the new Immortal Thunder Dragon technique. But such a huge disturbance from the condensing of the great Mahayana array, even they had seen it. This great array is terrifying. It actually uses heavenly thunder to conjure 10,000 swords. The sword light carries an exceedingly sharp sword intent, seemingly forming a sword domain with the destructive conception of heavenly thunder. What is this great array? I've never heard of it before, and how can a great array appear amidst the heavenly tribulation? At first, the crowds were clueless, but then they cast strange glances towards the thunder dragon. Elder Ming wore an odd expression and said, "Could it be a great array that Kiddo Lu has realized?" Everyone exchanged looks, and for a time they were silent. Then Wu Qingfeng said, "Nephew Lu has extraordinary luck and always gains some good things. This great array is probably a profound formation that even ancient texts have not recorded." Hearing Wu Qingfeng's words, everyone nodded in agreement. Nobody thought this was something Lu Yi had deduced himself, as it surpassed their imaginations. An original Supreme Elder from Black Jade Peak, his gaze flickering with shock, looked at the sky's thunder swords. This great array, it probably possesses a Mahayana realm, right? Even any one of those thunder swords gives me the feeling of being indomitable. The crowd nodded. Cultivators from both Black Jade Peak and Iron Heart sect, now part of the White Cloud sect, were incredibly invigorated. Indeed, Lu Yi is peerless in talent. His array Tao realm is profound. He has just broken through to the cave void realm, but he is able to inscribe a great Mahayana array. It's truly shocking. It's like the reincarnation of an array immortal. With Lu Yi in the White Cloud sect, it will surely become an immortal sect holy land. For the cultivators who were originally from Black Jade Peak and Iron Heart sect, losing their sects had been a matter of great reluctance. Now, witnessing Lu Yi's terrifying talent, all the cultivators were astounded, feeling that staying in White Cloud sect might not be so bad after all. If Lu Yi became an immortal, the White Cloud sect would become an immortal sect holy land. Wouldn't that be delightful? Staying in the White Cloud sect now, they could at least consider themselves founders. Many cultivators suddenly felt overwhelmed with a sense of belonging. The array patterns in the sky slowly dissipated, the dense and awe-inspiring thunder swords likewise disappearing. Then the thunder dragon, over 10 kilometers long and resembling a range of undulating mountains, suddenly let out a roar, shrinking continuously until it converged towards the central location. Soon the thunder dragon turned into thunder light, entering Luya's body, absorbed entirely by him. Luya stood in midair beneath the thunderclouds, clad in robes whiter than snow, his presence ethereal. His hair draped over his shoulders, with bolts of heavenly thunder flickering around him. He had the air of a banished immortal, his grace unparalleled. Chapter 364, 167, Deduction of the Great Mahayana Formation, 1,600 monthly tickets, plus 2. Chapter 364. Chapter 167, Deduction of the Great Mahayana Formation, 1,600 monthly tickets, plus /2. As the thunder dragon dissipated, the thundercloud slowly disappeared as well. Luya found this somewhat unexpected. The heavenly tribulation for breaking through to the cave void realm had only brought forth that single thunder dragon. It felt a bit unsatisfying. Luya mused inwardly. With the thunderclouds vanishing, cultivators like Wu Qingfeng from the White Cloud sect were overjoyed, flying toward Luya to offer their congratulations. Each cultivator had a smile on their face. Luya's combat strength was clear for all to see. Once he broke through to the cave void realm, not to mention others, even a cultivator at the unification realm should not be underestimated. Furthermore, considering the great Mahayana array patterns Luya had mastered earlier, it was possible he might be able to challenge great powers with his array Tao and Mahayana strength. With such a formidable top-notch combatant, who in the White Cloud sect could help but feel happy? In this period of the Sea Clan's invasion and smoke from battles rising everywhere, having one more top-notch cultivator like this was an extremely exhilarating matter for the White Cloud sect. Facing the continuous stream of congratulations from the many powerful cultivators, Luya was already accustomed to it. He responded skillfully with a smile to the numerous cultivators. It was only after the Ling Luo Peak Master made his way over that Luya followed his master and his junior sister back to Ling Luo Peak. On their way, Donggong Mingyue chattered excitedly. Brother Lu has actually broken through to the cave void realm. With this, you can now be considered a powerful cultivator in the whole Tiananmen. If saying that foundation establishment was the start of the immortal path, and condensing a nascent soul was entry into the immortal path, then a cave void cultivator, wielding the power of heaven and earth and perceiving conception, could indeed claim some small success in the journey of cultivation. Within the entire Tiananmen, they could certainly be recognized as powerful. The Ling Luo Peak Master, sleepy-eyed, glanced at Donggong Mingyue, poked her smooth forehead and said, "Cave void. That's nothing. The path of cultivation has only just begun. Your perspective of the world is too limited. The expanse of the star universe is vast, and a cave void cultivator is not considered outstanding at all." Donggong Mingyue, her forehead throbbing from the poke, held her forehead and said exasperatedly, "HMPH, Master, you just like to cause a stir. You always say such things to scare us." Luya, on the other hand, did not argue. He had, after all, experienced the incident with the Blood Spirit Sect ancestor. The Blood Spirit Sect ancestor, who was merely at the cave void level, was extremely fearsome when he exploded with his full strength, nearly approaching a great Mahayana power. It was only by utilizing a great Mahayana talisman that Luya had managed to kill him. There were probably very few people throughout the ancient and modern history of Tiananmen who were such heavenly pride demons. The master had said that the Blood Spirit Sect ancestor was the heavenly pride of the Rashomon clan, an extraterrestrial race with immense strength where even immortals were numerous. Perhaps heavenly pride demons like the Blood Spirit Sect ancestor were not unique within the Rashomon clan. Maybe there were others even more powerful. Such beings were entities that even Luya felt needed to be taken seriously. Perhaps in the whole Tiananmen, Luya's talent could be considered top-notch, and his combat power was astonishing. But when considering the entire universe, Luya was not certain if even more formidable beings existed. After all, even immortals were a rare sight in Tiananmen, considered almost mythological. Those so-called second-generation immortals, compared to the children of the immortal sect Holy Land, had access to far superior resources and were definitely stronger. Thinking this, Luya looked curiously at the Ling Luo Peak Master. "Master, Are there many outstanding heavenly pride demons in the star universe who are more powerful than me? Hearing this, the Ling Luo Peak Master froze, her face streaked with disbelief as she looked at Lu Ye. Seeing his earnest expression, she felt even more speechless inside. Didn't this boy know the strength of his own foundation? In the entire star universe, such an existence was rare. No, she couldn't let him become too arrogant and risk inflating his ego. The Ling Luo Peak Master pondered inwardly and then said, "It's not to that extent. Your talent, across the entire star domain where Tiananmen is located, is considered quite top-notch. You shouldn't belittle yourself, of course, don't get too proud either. Across the entire star domain, there are at least 100 beings stronger than you." Lu Ye's pupils slightly contracted. That many? His master knew he possessed laws. So were there really so many heavenly pride demons with laws at his level within the entire star domain? Lu Ye felt a great pressure. The Ling Luo Peak Master glanced at Lu Ye and then said, "There are also those born as immortals." Lu Ye. Donggong Ming Yue. The expressions of both of them stiffened. Born as immortals. Master, you're telling mythical tales, aren't you? Donggong Ming Yue looked at the Ling Luo Peak Master with disbelief. The Ling Luo Peak Master smiled faintly, offering no explanation. Lu Yi was incredibly astonished. It seemed the universe was much vaster than he had imagined. Born as immortals. To think, for all cultivators of Tiananmen, from the moment they stepped onto the path of cultivation, ascending to immortality was their ultimate goal. And for some, they were immortals from birth. It really echoed an old saying, "What you reach with all your might as your endpoint is but someone else's starting point." Lu Ye felt somewhat conflicted. But soon Lu Ye rallied himself. After all, he was a man with golden finger. What did it matter if his beginnings were humble? His foundation was no worse than anyone's, built with Taoist energy. Even immortals might not possess such a foundation, right? After all, even his master couldn't see through it. While his master could see through laws, she had never penetrated the secret of Lu Ye's Taoist foundation. Furthermore, he himself could become an immortal step by step, or even stronger. Seeing Lu Yi and Donggong Ming Yue's silent expressions, the Ling Luo Peak Master worried she might have dented their confidence. Chapter 365, 167, Deduction of the Great Mahayana Formation Bonus Chapter for 1600 Monthly Tickets 3. Chapter 365, Chapter 167, Deduction of the Great Mahayana Formation Bonus Chapter for 1600 Monthly Tickets /3. She said, "It's extremely rare to be born an immortal, and besides, even if one is a natural-born immortal, no one can be certain of what achievements their future holds. There have been cultivators who started as mortals and climbed up step by step, eventually even surpassing natural-born immortals." Hearing this, Lu Ye's determination grew stronger. Since others had done it, he was sure he could too. Donggong Ming Yue still couldn't believe it, grumbling under her breath that her master was a cheater, which resulted in the Ling Luo Peak Master flicking her forehead repeatedly, making it turn a bright red. Back at Ling Luo Peak, Lu Ye stretched languidly and said, "I'm a bit tired from getting struck by lightning today, thinking of taking a bath. Master, junior sister, are you coming?" "Yes, yes, I've been in seclusion for a while and I want to go too." Donggong Ming Yue's eyes lit up, clearly excited. The Ling Luo Peak Master stretched out lazily, speaking indolently. "It's been a while since I've bathed, let's go." The three of them headed to the top of Ling Luo Peak and entered their respective spiritual spring rooms. Once he immersed himself in the spiritual spring, Lu Yi felt as if his entire body was being cleansed, and he exhaled contentedly, comfortable. The voice of the Ling Luo Peak Master called out, "You little rascal, quickly bring over the spiritual wine and spirit food." "I want some too, senior brother," Donggong Ming Yue piped up. Lu Yi, speechless, took out the spiritual wine and spirit food and tossed them to the two of them. The Ling Luo Peak Master said with dissatisfaction, "How come it's still daunting wine? It's been so long, don't we have any better wine?" Daunting wine was a unification realm spiritual wine that Lu Yi had acquired. It could enhance the absorption of spiritual energy and the understanding of the power of heaven and earth, extremely precious. However, it seemed the Ling Luo Peak Master was still somewhat unsatisfied. Lu Yi, with a face full of incredulity, complained, "This is a unification realm spiritual wine. Master, aren't you satisfied? Don't you know how rare these heavenly materials and earthly treasures are?" The White Cloud sect didn't even possess treasures of this level, and even when Lu Yi completed tasks, the rewards were random. He didn't often receive such heavenly materials and earthly treasures. For Lu Yi, spiritual wine from the unification realm was also an extremely precious treasure. And this woman was still picky. In the past, she would enjoy Yulan brew from Yulan Peak Master so much. It was just too good. Lu Yi grumbled in his heart. Upon hearing this, the Ling Luo Peak Master asked, "What sort of heavenly materials and earthly treasures?" "I have 2 unification realm spiritual wine formulas here, but I haven't gathered all the ingredients yet. The needed materials include the heavenly flower, 10,000 spirit liquid, Ning Yue flower." Lu Yi listed a bunch of names and then mocked, "Master, do you have any?" The Ling Luo Peak Master indolently replied, "Of course not." "Lu Yi," he frustrated said, "if you don't have any, why are you criticizing me?" The Ling Luo Peak Master, with a righteous air, said, "I will find some for you in a few days." Lu Yi's eyes brightened at these words. With his master's formidable strength and mysterious background, it was not impossible to quickly find various heavenly materials and earthly treasures. If that was the case, he could perhaps brew even more spiritual wine. Then Lu Yi thought of something and said, "Right, Master, I also have a unification realm spirit food formula here. It's just a shame I lack the ingredients." The Ling Luo Peak Master seemed interested. "You have a spirit food formula too. Tell me the ingredients, I'll get them for you." Lu Yi's eyes shined as he listed a heap of ingredients. Next, they just had to wait for their own master to acquire them. Off to the side, Donggong Ming Yue, listening to their conversation, didn't care at all since she, with her cultivation level, couldn't consume unification realm spiritual wine. The level was simply too high. Soon, Donggong Ming Yue got drunk, mumbling and boasting that she wanted to become an immortal and an ancestor, suppressing her own senior sister and Yunzai, dominating her senior brother, demanding that he praise her every day. The Ling Luo Peak Master couldn't bear to listen anymore and casually sealed Donggong Ming Yue's powers. Then the whole world became quiet. Lu Yi and the Ling Luo Peak Master both really enjoyed the silence, silently soaking in the bath, occasionally exchanging a few words. When Lu Yi suggested that now would be a good time for his master to talk about Taoism, the Ling Luo Peak Master immediately broke down, and Lu Yi only felt as if invisible fingers were incessantly flicking his forehead with a resonating sound. Lu Yi, clutching his throbbing forehead, begged for mercy, and only then did the master let him off. The next morning, both the Ling Luo Peak Master and Lu Yi left the spiritual spring feeling satisfied, whereas Donggong Ming Yue left with puffed cheeks, a look of indignation on her face, wanting to talk tough to her own master. But upon remembering the gap between herself and the master, Donggong Ming Yue wisely chose to remain silent. After returning to the bamboo house, the Ling Luo Peak Master went on her way. Lu Yi pinched Donggong Ming Yue's angrily puffing baby-fat cheeks and said, "Let's go back." Donggong Ming Yue's cheeks were tinged with red, remembering her drunken words from the night before. It's a good thing senior sister wasn't there. Donggong Ming Yue suddenly felt a bit lucky. Otherwise, she thought she might be suppressed in a block of ice for a long while. Then Donggong Ming Yue's thoughts returned to the fact that her senior sister wasn't there. Senior sister wasn't there. Now it was just her and senior brother. Donggong Ming Yue's gaze wandered, glancing over at Lu Yi. She had known for a while, but had never mustered up the courage. If she took that step, she would definitely become the first real Taoist couple of her senior brother. "You can do it, Donggong Ming Yue, you're the best." Taking a deep breath, Donggong Ming Yue then looked at Lu Yi with determined eyes. "Senior brother." Lu Yi was taken aback, looking at Donggong Ming Yue with a bit of confusion. "What's wrong, junior sister?" Seeing Lu Yi's handsome face, Donggong Ming Yue's face turned a bit red and she averted her gaze slightly. Well, congratulations on your breakthrough to the cave void realm." Lu Yi was stunned for a moment, feeling quite perplexed, as he pinched Donggong Ming Yue's small face. "Do we really need congratulations for that? Why are you acting like the sect leader and the others?" Donggong Ming Yue's face turned even redder. "Actually, there's something else I want to say." Lu Yi, puzzled, asked, "What is it?" "It's just that I want to practice with you, senior brother," Donggong Ming Yue said earnestly while looking at Lu Yi. Her heart felt numb. Oh no, the words didn't come out again. Darn it, if it were Yunzai, that shameless woman, she would have definitely been able to say it. There'd be no problem with that shameless woman. Dongong Mingyue was full of resentment in her heart. Lu Yi hadn't expected Dongong Mingyue to want to spar with him. Naturally, he was pleased. His junior sister had just recently made a breakthrough to the divinity transformation realm, and even mastered the thunder intent to the domain realm, so the rewards for sparring were naturally significant. At this moment, Lu Yi's thunder domain had even surpassed his sword domain, reaching as much as 60%, all thanks to the efforts of his junior sister. Then let's go. Thus, Lu Yi led a completely numb Dongong Mingyue down from Ling Luo Peak and started their usual practice task. First update, revisions to follow tilde. Chapter 366, 168 Dongong Mingyue. Yunzai's sister is indeed my sister. Chapter 366, Chapter 168 Dongong Mingyue. Yunzai's sister is indeed my sister. After exchanging pointers with Dongong Mingyue for a few times and gaining a good amount of spirit marrow, along with rewards for enlightenment on the thunder domain, Lu Yi felt completely satisfied. During the rest, Lu Yi noticed Dongong Mingyue seemed hesitant to speak, and he asked with curiosity, "What's wrong? Junior sister, you seem to have something on your mind." Dongong Mingyue tensed up, her pretty face turning slightly red. "No, nothing at all. Senior brother, you are just overthinking it." Lu Yi did not press further. Instead, he suggested, "We're both tired from the sparring. How about we head back to the cave mansion to discuss the Tao and chat?" Dongong Mingyue's eyes lit up, and she nodded slightly, sure. The two returned to Lu Yi's cave mansion, where Lu Yi took out some spiritual wine and spirit food. Since Liu Ningxuang wasn't there, it was just Lu Yi and Dongong Mingyue. The two chatted, discussing the Thunder Tao. Dongong Mingyue drank hastily, her pretty face soon flushing red, her eyes hazy with drunkenness. Lu Yi with a head full of black lines. "Junior sister, maybe you should drink less." His own junior sister's drinking habits were never great. He truly dreaded that she would go on a drunken rampage. It was at that moment Dongong Mingyue suddenly stood up, stepped onto a stool, and then put one foot on the table, looking down at Lu Yi with her hands on her hips. Radiating arrogance, she declared, "Senior brother, let me tell you, you're definitely this young lady's man. Yunzai and those sisters, I'll suppress them one by one." A head full of black lines, Lu Yi thought, here she goes, getting all boisterous after drinking. Yes, 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 junior sister is the most impressive, unbeatable junior sister," Lu Yi replied, somewhat helplessly indulging her. Dongong Mingyue nodded in satisfaction, hopped down from the chair, and sat next to Lu Yi, staring at him nonstop. Feeling a bit embarrassed by her gaze, Lu Yi asked, "Junior sister, why are you looking at me like that?" Dongong Mingyue replied, "This young lady is thinking that I need to mark you with my seal primarily." Dongong Mingyue, emboldened by the alcohol, moved closer to Lu Yi. The aroma of wine and her delicate fragrance filled the air, and Lu Yi felt a soft touch on his lips. However, Dongong Mingyue obviously lacked experience, and the touch remained still. Faced with such an opportunity, Lu Yi naturally would not let it slip away, and he took the initiative quite impolitely. "Junior sister, it's a good chance for us to engage in dual cultivation. How about it?" No, that's not okay." Dongong Mingyue was somewhat frightened, struggling a little, but how could she compare to the physical strength of Lu Yi? She was easily subdued by him. Therefore, it wasn't long before the sounds of dragons and phoenixes chanting resounded in the cave mansion, and the mysterious yin and yang Tao Yun flowed within. 2 days later, the chanting of dragons and phoenixes gradually subsided. Lu Yi stepped out of the resting bedroom looking as he did before, his face reflecting a sense of unfulfilled longing. Back when Lu Yi first engaged in dual cultivation with Yunzai, her strength was similar to Dongong Mingyue's, and the robustness of their physical bodies wasn't much different either. However, Dongong Mingyue couldn't even last as long as Yunzai, giving in after 2 days. Perhaps it was because his junior sister was more sensitive. Lu Yi felt really distressed. In these days, he had been cultivating with the true dragon essence blood, rewards he had earned from the heavenly dragon saint son, his vital energy surging and his physical strength far greater than before. Lu Yi felt like he had barely begun when Dongong Mingyue could no longer continue. That was quite distressing. With a deep sigh, Lu Yi thought it would have been better if there was a chance to have junior sister and Yunzai together. With that, he probably could have been more satisfied. At the moment, Dongong Mingyue was still unconscious, and Lu Yi returned to the cultivation room to begin checking the rewards from the task. Task: Junior sister Donggong Mingyue falls in love with me. Completed. Deduce the Great Mahayana Formation. Completed. Breakthrough to the Cave Void Realm. Completed. Like the situation with Yunzai before, after dual cultivation, the task of making his junior sister fall in love with him was also considered completed. Besides, there were also the tasks of the breakthrough to the Cave Void Realm and deducing the Great Mahayana Formation from before. The rewards for the task of making junior sister fall in love with me were 40% Thunder Intent, the Golden Core Skill, 1000 Thunder Spell, and the mid-grade treasure, Purple Thunder Crown. This task was released by Lu Yi a long time ago when his strength was still weak, and the reward seemed extremely generous at the time. But as for the current Lu Yi, they felt rather ordinary. At the time, Lu Yi even thought there might be a bug, since the task was not getting completed. If he had known that the prerequisite for completing the task required actual action, Lu Yi would probably have completed this task much earlier. Now, the rewards for the task seemed very common to Lu Yi. Only the 40% Thunder Intent was still somewhat useful. After absorbing the Thunder Intent, Lu Yi felt his Thunder domain had improved a bit, with the extent of improvement roughly equivalent to the benefits he gained from sparring with his junior sister once. This left Lu Yi speechless for a moment. Even the improvements from dual cultivation were greater than this. As for the Golden Core Skill and the mid-grade treasure, Lu Yi put them away. They were not even something he would consider giving to his junior sister. Shaking his head in resignation, Lu Yi went on to examine the other rewards. The reward for deducing the Great Mahayana Formation was an enhancement of Array Tau Enlightenment and an innate Array Pattern Fragment. This time, the enlightenment for the Array Tau realm far exceeded the previous rewards from deducing the Unification Array. After several hours of complete absorption of the enlightenment, Lu Yi still had to continue assimilating it, and if not for his cultivation room being shielded by a concealing array, the anomalies of the Array Tau might have already soared to the heavens, startling the entire White Cloud sect. That innate Array Pattern Fragment was the most pleasant surprise for Lu Yi. In certain fortuitous circumstances, the principles of heaven and earth converge to form innate array patterns, which contain unimaginable power. To an array master, these are the most treasured items. They can comprehend the mysteries of the Array Tau contained within the innate array pattern, and in some cases, the innate array pattern can even assist the array master in setting up a great array. Chapter 367, 168 Donggong Mingyue. Yunzai's sister is indeed my sister too. Chapter 367, Chapter 168 Donggong Mingyue. Yunzai's sister is indeed my sister /2. If the innate array pattern were complete, it would belong to the level of an immortal treasure. Even just a fragment of an innate array pattern would still be a fragment of a damaged immortal treasure, exceeding even top-grade spiritual artifacts in value, extremely precious. The innate array pattern fragment awarded to Lu Yi was just like this. When Lu Yi collected his task reward, a mysterious white rune about the size of half a palm appeared in his hand. This innate array pattern was different from the array patterns etched by Lu Yi himself. It had a physical form and was etched by the power of heaven and earth, representing their strength. The innate array pattern fragment in Lu Yi's hand was a fragment of a killing array, embracing the power of slaughter between heaven and earth. With this innate array pattern fragment, Lu Yi's understanding of the killing array would be much more efficient. Not only that, but setting up killing arrays would also yield exceedingly good results. Plus, with Lu Yi's heavenly array map, even great arrays at the Mahayana realm level could be set up effortlessly by him. Lu Yi absorbed the white rune into his danchan. The white rune hovered around his nascent soul, circling it. Around the nascent soul flowed strands of Taoist energy, as seven-colored radiance slowly merged into the white array pattern, making it flicker with a faint light and contain the mysterious essence of Tao Yun. This filled Lu Yi's heart with joy. His nascent soul was entirely condensed from the power of Tao. If he could nourish this innate array pattern fragment over time, perhaps one day it could become whole, turning into a complete innate array pattern, which is a powerful item on the level of an immortal treasure. When that time came, it would be a significant aid to him. The last was the task for breaking through to the Cave Void Realm, and the rewards included an Enlightenment Tea Tree Seed, 100 Jin of Enlightenment Tea, a top-grade spiritual artifact breaking Void Boat, the secret technique, Small Void Technique, and a designated skill level +3. The rewards for tasks involving breakthroughs in great realms were always quite substantial, and Lu Yi had grown accustomed to this. There's no need to say much about the Enlightenment Tea Tree Seed and the Enlightenment Tea. The top-grade spiritual artifact Breaking Void Boat is an exceptional flying treasure that consumes spiritual energy. It can even shatter the void, tearing through it and capable of flight amongst the star rivers. This was an oval-shaped, silver metal flying boat engraved with runes all over it. Upon seeing this description, Lu Yi's expression became somewhat odd. To break through the void for flight and to be able to navigate through the universe, isn't this essentially a cosmic spaceship? Moreover, it was the kind that Lu Yi had only seen in science fiction movies from his previous life, capable of traversing through the wormholes of the universe. Quite absurd. However, Lu Yi was still very happy. Although such a top-grade spiritual artifact consumed a lot of spiritual energy, its ability to navigate through the void meant it would be incredibly fast. Even tribulation-crossing practitioners would probably not be able to catch up. With this breaking void boat, Lu Yi felt his safety had greatly increased. Even if he faced old ancestors of the tribulation-crossing realm, if he couldn't overcome them, he could still run away. As for the secret technique, small void technique, this reward also greatly surprised Lu Yi. This secret technique enabled cultivators to comprehend the force of the void, allowing them to navigate through it with their bodies, an extremely terrifying method of escape. According to the introduction of the small void technique, it involves the mysterious and great space Tao. If one masters the small void technique to its limit, there might be a chance to glimpse into the mysteries of the space Tao and comprehend the space law. Above the small void technique is the great void skill, a secret technique that can only be grasped after mastering the space law, and even be considered an immortal technique. Based on the space law, in just a thought, endless voids can be shattered. It's an unbelievably terrifying power. Lu Yi looked forward to mastering the small void technique, placing it at the forefront of his cultivation sequence. He was determined to cultivate the small void technique to the extreme level, to master the space law. Even without the space law, blending oneself with the void and navigating through, it was a very powerful means of saving one's life. For any cultivator, winning or losing wasn't the most important. The key was to be able to escape and live longer. Unless one was truly invincible, there would always be beings stronger than oneself. Against such beings, being able to escape meant there was hope for the future, right? The final designated skill level +3 from the task reward was naturally intended by Lu Yi to be used on the Cave Void chapter of the Immortal Sword Scripture, when the time came. After tallying all his gains, Lu Yi heard a voice outside the cultivation room. Lu Yi raised an eyebrow and stepped out of the cultivation room, only to see Donggong Mingyue sitting on a chair, looking exhausted. Upon seeing Lu Yi, Donggong Mingyue's body stiffened. She shrank her neck and said with a dry laugh, "Senior brother." Lu Yi walked over with a smile. "Junior sister, how was your rest?" Donggong Mingyue shrank back a little. "Not bad." "Really? That's great. How about we continue with dual cultivation?" Lu Yi's eyes lit up. "False," Donggong Mingyue quickly responded. Lu Yi felt a little disappointed, but still sat down next to Donggong Mingyue. "All right then." Donggong Mingyue visibly sighed in relief. Then her eyes lit up, as if she thought of something, and she began to laugh smugly. "Hehe tilde." Seeing Donggong Mingyue laughing foolishly, Lu Yi asked in confusion, "Junior sister, what's going on with you?" Donggong Mingyue replied, "Nothing, I'm just happy after all, I am the very first to become your Taoist couple." But in her heart, Donggong Mingyue was immensely proud. "am the first to become senior brother's Taoist couple. Yunzai any senior sisters, all trailing in dust behind me." Chapter 368, 168 Donggong Mingyue. Yunzai sister is indeed my sister 3. Chapter 368, Chapter 168 Donggong Mingyue. Yunzai sister is indeed my sister /3. Once I see them, I absolutely have to show off. Especially Yunzai, that shameless woman. I wonder if her expression will be priceless when she hears this news. Donggong Mingyue was very smug. When Lu Yi heard this, his expression became somewhat odd. Seeing the overjoyed Donggong Mingyue, Lu Yi hesitated whether or not to tell her that Yunzai had already dual cultivated with him. However, thinking about his junior sister's temper, he guessed that it wouldn't be long before she'd likely go and boast to Yunzai. Just thinking of that scene made Lu Yi's scalp tingle. He cleared his throat and said, "Junior sister, there is something your senior brother needs to discuss with you." Dongong Mingyue, all smiles, looked at Lu Yi. "What is it, senior brother?" "When I was setting up the sect protection array for the 10,000 Flowers sect, I dual cultivated with Yunzai." Dongong Mingyue. Her smile gradually stiffened. Her mind flooded with question marks as she looked at Lu Yi in disbelief. "Senior brother, what did you say?" Lu Yi felt a strong sense of guilt and continued, "So, the first one should actually be Yunzai." Dongong Mingyue went numb, as if she had turned into a statue of ash and white. "What? I'm not the first. How is that possible?" Lu Yi looked worriedly at the stiff Dongong Mingyue. "Junior sister, are you okay?" Dongong Mingyue snapped back to her senses. She lunged and bit Lu Yi's arm. "Bad senior brother. To think you first touched that shameless woman Yunzai." Dongong Mingyue sank her teeth into Lu Yi's arm. Lu Yi dared not tense his physical body, worried it would break Mingyue's teeth. He winced, allowing Dongong Mingyue to leave a series of bite marks on his arm. Dongong Mingyue was so angry she started crying while biting Lu Yi. "Stinky senior brother, I'll bite you to death." After biting him for over half an hour, Lu Yi's body was full of bite marks, and Dongong Mingyue finally let go, not because her anger was gone but because she was too exhausted to use much strength. Dongong Mingyue glared at Lu Yi fiercely and said, "I don't care. Whatever you did with Yunzai, I want it too, and I want even more, even better than her." Upon hearing this, Lu Yi's expression turned peculiar. "Is junior sister serious?" "Of course I am." Dongong Mingyue crossed her arms, pouting, clearly very upset. Lu Yi nodded, stood up, scooped up Dongong Mingyue and headed toward the bedroom. Dongong Mingyue stiffened, struggling frantically. "Senior brother, what are you doing?" Lu Yi said, "Didn't junior sister say whatever I did with Yunzai you wanted too? Initially, Yunzai and I dual cultivated for over a month. We should do at least 2 months, right? I'll give you double the time." Dongong Mingyue. Her face turned deathly white, full of horror. "Just the 2 days before, I felt like I was barely surviving. 2 months. I'm going to die, really going to die." Dongong Mingyue was about to cry again, shouting, "Senior brother, I don't want it anymore. I don't want to be like that shameless woman Yunzai." "That won't do. Your senior brother is not someone who favors one over the other," Lu Yi said earnestly. "I have to be fair." "Senior brother, I want to go back to cultivation." Dongong Mingyue looked pitifully at Lu Yi, her eyes almost falling out. Lu Yi's smile was brilliant, perfect timing. "During this time, I'll teach you that dual cultivation technique, which is very beneficial for your cultivation. It can even enhance your physical body and help you comprehend the yin-yang Tao. Oh, and eat these primordial yang fruit and yuan yin fruit while you're at it." Then Lu Yi, holding desperately struggling Dongong Mingyue, went back to the bedroom, and soon, the sounds of dragon roar phoenix chirp were heard once again. After more than a day, Dongong Mingyue passed out again. Lu Yi felt quite helpless. His junior sister was really weak. Perhaps it was also because his cultivation base had increased, making him stronger. However, the enhancement from the dual cultivation was also significant for Lu Yi. It goes without saying that the boost in cultivation base was significant. His conception of the yin-yang realm had barely improved since leaving the 10,000 Flowers sect, but now it was improving again. Lu Yi was very happy. Now his yin-yang conception was about 96% complete, and probably wouldn't take long to reach perfection and comprehend the yin-yang domain. Lu Yi looked at his fainted junior sister and thought, perhaps I should make some nourishing spirit food and spiritual wine to help her recuperate. Otherwise, even though junior sister is already a divinity transformation cultivator, and the dragon roar phoenix chirp technique is beneficial for both parties and harmless to the body, junior sister might still be too weak. Luckily, the spirit wine formula and spirit food formula I previously obtained indeed include such recipes. Xuanian brew, this is a type of spiritual wine suitable for female cultivators, can nourish yin and beautify, even maintaining beauty permanently. It's a cave void realm level spiritual wine, though not too high tier, but it's perfect for junior sister. Lu Yi thought to himself, master and senior sisters would probably like it too. After all, women certainly like staying beautiful forever, nourishing yin and beautifying and all that. So while Dongong Mingyue was asleep, Lu Yi started practicing. For the next month, Lu Yi didn't let Dongong Mingyue leave the cave mansion. Each time she recovered a bit, they started dual cultivating again. It must be said, the effects of dual cultivation were indeed impressive. Donggong Mingyue's cultivation base increased several times faster than her own effort. Even so, Donggong Mingyue wasn't very happy. When they reached a duration similar to what he spent with Yunzai, the first words Donggong Mingyue said after waking up were, "Senior brother, please go find Yunzai now, I beg you." Lu Yu was startled and looked at Donggong Mingyue in amazement. "Find Yunzai. Junior sister, I thought you really disliked Yunzai." Donggong Mingyue shook her head seriously, her messy twin pigtails swaying. Donggong Mingyue said, "Sister Yunzai is my sister. How could I possibly hate her? You've been with me for so long, you should spend some time with her too. It's been quite a while since you two saw each other, right?" Update first, revise later tilde. Chapter 369, 169. The huge gains brought by the immortal body Yunzai. Chapter 369, Chapter 169. The huge gains brought by the immortal body Yunzai. Lu Yu couldn't quite believe it. "Junior sister, do you really not dislike Yunzai anymore?" Previously, Lu Yu had thought of many ways, but none had improved the relationship between the two. He never expected that Donggong Mingyue would now call Yunzai sister. Lu Yu felt it was somewhat baffling. However, he was still very happy in his heart. After all, Lu Yu cared deeply for them, naturally not wanting their relationship to be poor. If they could become good friends or even like sisters, that would be the best. "Really, I feel like I'm about to break through. Brother, could you let me go back to my closed-door cultivation?" Donggong Mingyue shook Lu Yu's arm, coquettishly pleading. Lu Yu thought that it was about time for his own dual cultivation with his junior sister, and the time with Yunzai was almost up. Feeling that things had evened out for the night, he nodded. "If that's the case, then all right." Donggong Mingyue's eyes lit up and she quickly said, "See you, brother." She transformed into a streak of thunder light and disappeared from Lu Yu's bedroom. Lu Yu watched as Donggong Mingyue left, and a smile appeared on his face. His junior sister was very understanding after all. She finally got along well with Yunzai. Lu Yu was quite pleased. After that, Lu Yu began to cultivate in peace. During dual cultivation, Lu Yu's task of improving his cultivation base had progressed rapidly, and his Immortal Sword Scripture Void chapter had also improved considerably. Moreover, Lu Yu's yin-yang realm had reached perfection, and he wasn't far from condensing his own domain. He would need to continue working hard on this later. For now, let his junior sister have her closed-door cultivation. Other than that, Lu Yu hardly cultivated anything else. Next, Lu Yu planned to cultivate the small void technique first, and then bring the Immortal Sword Scripture Void chapter to perfection. Additionally, there was the task of deducing the Tribulation Crossing Array, which also needed to be scheduled. If he could deduce the Tribulation Crossing Array, Lu Yu would be able to obtain a strand of Array Tau Law, which would be of great help in improving his strength. This was a task that needed to be taken seriously. After breaking through to the cave void realm, Lu Yu used a 10,000-year-old spirit marrow, feeling that the speed of cultivation was not as fast as before. And his senior sister had gone to the Sea Clan battlefield, while his junior sister had only recently reached the divinity transformation realm. It was somewhat difficult to acquire new cultivation resources. Fortunately, Lu Yu had previously obtained 10 pieces of the 10,000-year spirit jade, which would be enough for some time. It has to be said that the concentration of spiritual energy in spirit jade was extremely high. Using it for cultivation, the speed far surpassed that of the 10,000-year spirit marrow. Even after reaching the cave void realm, Lu Yu's cultivation base continued to rise rapidly. And as the level of Lu Yu's cultivation technique grew higher, the speed of his cultivation actually increased. It was a pity that there was so little 10,000-year spirit jade, only 10 pieces. Lu Yu could absorb one in 2 months, and in 2 years all of it would be used up. By that time, Lu Yu's cultivation had advanced to the second level of the cave void realm. For the cave void realm, advancing 1 level in 2 years was considered extremely fast. The pity was, without new spirit jade, using the 10,000-year spirit marrow, the speed of cultivation was somewhat slow. During this time, Elder Ming had been in closed-door cultivation all along, and it was hard for Lu Yu to even find an opponent for a friendly duel. With no other choice, Lu Yu thought about leaving on a journey to acquire some higher-level cultivation resources. It would be the perfect opportunity to visit the Sea Clan battlefield. Given the intensity of battles in the battlefield, he could undertake many tasks, and the rewards should be substantial. If it had been during the divinity transformation stage, Lu Yi wouldn't have thought of this. But having broken through to the cave void realm, not only had Lu Yi's cultivation base greatly improved, he had also mastered the great Mahayana killing array. Now, even against a great Mahayana cultivator, he had the power to fight. Most importantly, during this time, Lu Yi had focused on cultivating the small void technique, reaching level 7, allowing him to travel through the void. Even faced with a tribulation-crossing ancestor, Lu Yi could escape. With the addition of the breaking void boat, Lu Yi now had the confidence to face a tribulation-crossing ancestor. As long as no immortal appeared on the Sea Clan battlefield, Lu Yi felt he wouldn't have much trouble escaping. Once Lu Yi had the idea, he made up his mind and planned to take a trip to the Sea Clan battlefield. If possible, it would be best to visit the East Sea region and find Mist Island. That was the task related to immortals, and Lu Yi had always been obsessed with finding Mist Island. Having made up his mind, Lu Yi went to the top of Ling Luo Peak to bid farewell to the Ling Luo Peak Master. The Ling Luo Peak Master was very unhappy to hear that Lu Yi planned to go to the Sea Clan battlefield. It meant that Lu Yi would not be able to cook for her for a short while. In the past few days, the Ling Luo Peak Master had obtained various heavenly materials and earthly treasures, as well as fierce beast ingredients, even those of the great Mahayana realm, for Lu Yi to practice cooking. And now, shortly after, Lu Yi was leaving. The Ling Luo Peak Master was very angry. Fortunately, Lu Yi took out a large portion of the Qunian brew for the Ling Luo Peak Master, and together with various spiritual wine and spirit food, she was finally satisfied. Seeing the Ling Luo Peak Master happy, Lu Yi took the opportunity to ask for another lecture on the Taoist skill. The smile on the Ling Luo Peak Master's face gradually faded. However, given the variety of spiritual wine and spirit food, she did not refuse. After leaving the top of Ling Luo Peak, Lu Yi went to visit Donggong Ming Yue's cave mansion. Outside the cave mansion, Lu Yi called out, "Junior sister, are you there?" No sound came from inside the cave mansion, leaving Lu Yi speechless. Ever since their last dual cultivation session, Donggong Ming Yue had been in closed-door cultivation inside the cave mansion and had not come out till now. It had been 2 years. Even when Lu Yi called her, she wouldn't come out. With no other choice, Lu Yi said, "Junior sister, your brother is planning to take a trip to the Sea Clan battlefield, and I'm afraid it will be some time before I return." Chapter 370, 169, The Huge Gains Brought by the Immortal Body Yun Zai 2. Chapter 370-169, The Huge Gains Brought by the Immortal Body Yun Zai. Upon hearing Lu Yi's words, it didn't take long for the doors of Donggong Ming Yue's cave mansion to open. Dressed in a purple long dress with her hair tied up in twin ponytails, Donggong Ming Yue stepped out, looking at Lu Yi in surprise. "Senior brother, are you really going to the Sea Clan battlefield? It's very dangerous there." Lu Yi smiled and said, "After breaking through to the cave void realm, my cultivation speed has slowed down a bit. I plan to take a trip to the Sea Clan battlefield, perhaps to gain some benefits." Donggong Ming Yue immediately said, "Then I want to go with senior brother too." Lu Yi extended a finger and flicked her smooth, full forehead, causing Donggong Ming Yue to cry out in pain and cover her forehead. Lu Yi didn't know if it was because he was flicked on the forehead by the master too often, but now he had developed a similar habit. He spoke, "Why would you go? Your cultivation base is still too weak. You're in a phase where it's rapidly improving. What you need is proper cultivation." Hearing this, Donggong Ming Yue opened her mouth as if she wanted to say something, but Lu Yi earnestly said, "Senior brother, I've come to see you to say farewell. We may not see each other for a long time, so shouldn't there be some kind of farewell ritual?" Donggong Ming Yue was stunned and a bit puzzled. "Farewell ritual? What kind of farewell ritual?" Lu Yi said earnestly, embracing Donggong Ming Yue and walking toward the cave mansion. "Of course, it's dual cultivation." No, Donggong Ming Yue was utterly numb. She really didn't want this farewell ritual at all. The last month-long dual cultivation session had already caused Donggong Ming Yue psychological trauma, making her legs feel uncomfortable whenever she cultivated. Even just now, upon seeing Lu Yi, her legs felt weak. This was entirely an instinctive reaction. Now hearing these words, Donggong Ming Yue was full of terror. However, Lu Yi paid no attention to Donggong Ming Yue's resistance, directly taking her into the cave mansion and closing the door. 10 days later, Lu Yi left his cave mansion with a somewhat lingering feeling, while Donggong Ming Yue had already passed out inside. Lu Yi did not say goodbye to Master Wu Qingfeng or the higher-ups of the White Cloud sect. After all, with Lu Yi's astonishing talent, if he informed them, they would probably persuade him not to take the risk, which would be troublesome. Lu Yi also kept it from old Lu and his mother to avoid worrying them. Now that both old Lu and his mother had high cultivation, they were living carefree lives, and Lu Yi didn't want to give them any concern. He stepped forth, transforming into a streak of light, and left the White Cloud sect. Afterward, Lu Yi used the 1,000 transformation skill to turn into an ordinary-looking young man, and flew towards the direction of the 10,000 Flowers sect. Lu Yi planned to visit Yun Zai before his departure. Ever since he returned from the 10,000 Flowers sect, he hadn't seen Yun Zai for quite a long time. Although many strong practitioners from the Mahayana power in the 10,000 Flowers sect territory had been taken to the battlefield, some were still present. Even though the sect had lifted its seal, few disciples ventured beyond the protection of the sect protection array. Yun Zai, in particular, had grown quiet after the transformation from a spiritual body into an immortal body. Once Lu Yi left the range of the White Cloud sect, he used the small void technique, and with spiritual energy flowing, he stepped through the void, covering thousands of kilometers with each move, speeding towards the 10,000 Flowers sect territory. Soon, Lu Yi arrived outside the gates of the 10,000 Flowers sect. The perimeter of the 10,000 Flowers sect was still shrouded in the Star River, with stars cascading down, flickering in dreamlike beauty. The sect protection array of the 10,000 Flowers sect was active. Lu Yi stepped inside, passing through the sect protection array without a sound, and made his way familiarly to the valley where Yun Zai's cave mansion was located. This time, the valley took Lu Yi by surprise, for all the flowers were twinkling with mysterious light, appearing extraordinarily unusual. These flowers seemed to possess life, swaying rhythmically, synchronized with the pulse of the mysterious light in the cottage at the end of the valley. At the end of the valley, resplendent and multicolored lights flashed, conveying extremely mysterious Tao Yun. Lu Yi was astonished. This Tao Yun represented the power of nature. During these days, Lu Yi's natural domain had further improved, reaching the height of the 4th layer. Even so, he felt that this power of nature was remarkably mysterious, even higher than his own domain realm. The transformation of the 10,000 Flowers spiritual body into an immortal body had brought about such significant changes. Initially, Yun Zai's natural domain had been weak, but in this period it had improved so much. Truly befitting an immortal body. Lu Yi, immensely startled, was then filled with happiness. Yun Zai was his Taoist couple. The stronger she was, the stronger it made Lu Yi. And moreover, the stronger Yun Zai was, the higher the task reward would be, which was good news. At the moment Lu Yi smiled, the door of Yun Zai's cave mansion suddenly opened, and a stream of 9-colored light swept out, coming to face him. It was Yun Zai. This time, Yun Zai's skin was translucent, radiating mysterious Tao light, and her already stunningly beautiful face now had an additional touch of ethereal and natural elegance, resembling an immortal walking amidst blossoms. Although Yun Zai's face hadn't changed, compared to before, she exuded more of an immortal aura and natural charm, making her seem vastly different from before. Yun Zai embraced Lu Yi, gently rubbing her face against his chest, and smiled. "Lu Yi, what brings you here?" Lu Yi stroked Yun Zai's hair and smiled. "I missed you a bit." Yun Zai looked up at Lu Yi with a pure, ethereal smile and said, "I missed you too, but Grandma won't let me leave, fearing that a tribulation-crossing ancestor might take notice." Chapter 371, 169, The Tremendous Gains Brought by Immortal Body Yun Zai 3. Chapter 371-169, The Tremendous Gains Brought by Immortal Body Yun Zai /3. Lu Yi nodded slightly upon hearing this. "Grandma is right. After your transformation into an immortal body, your talents are extremely strong, and many tribulation-crossing ancestors will probably want to take notice of you." Lu Yi discovered that Yun Zai's cultivation base had actually broken through to the cave void realm. Her aura, though somewhat unstable, appears to be a recent breakthrough, but still an incredibly shocking pace. Lu Yi was somewhat surprised. "Worthy of an immortal body, to think you've broken through to the cave void realm so quickly." Yunzai smiled faintly. It's thanks to the 9-colored bellflowers. After absorbing the 9-colored bellflowers, my cultivation base already reached the divinity transformation 10th layer, and it was with those spirit marrow you left for me that I managed to break through now. Lu Yi had a sudden realization, and then smiled. The heavenly materials and earthly treasures that are close to immortal treasures are indeed too valuable for you. Yunzai's smile blossomed. She tiptoed and lightly kissed the corner of Lu Yi's lips, leaving a lingering fresh orchid fragrance. Now that I have become an immortal body, if I work hard in the future, I can ascend to immortal and be by your side. A look of longing and happiness appeared on Yunzai's face, warming Lu Yi's heart as well. He smiled slightly. Of course, on the path to immortality we should walk together. Then Lu Yi curiously asked, by the way, after the 10,000 flower spirit body has transformed into an immortal body, are there any special changes? Yunzai pondered for a moment before speaking. My physique has become much stronger. Moreover, I have grown much closer to the natural Tao than before. These days, I have been understanding the power of nature, and I have elevated my domain to a very strong level, to such an extent that I can communicate with the hearts of the flowers in the valley. That's exactly why I sensed you the moment you stepped into the valley. Lu Yi was enlightened. No wonder as soon as he entered the valley, Yunzai appeared without him noticing any divine sense fluctuations. So it was communication with the hearts of flowers. Truly befitting of an immortal body, Lu Yi found it extraordinarily magical. Then Lu Yi thought of something and said with a serious face, I see, the physique has gotten much stronger. Let me see how Yunzai's body is different from before. I need to thoroughly check it out. With that, Lu Yi swept Yunzai into his arms and flew towards her cave mansion. Yunzai's ethereal, natural eyes gleamed with a watery hue, her face blushing slightly. Then she hugged Lu Yi and nodded faintly. This time, I probably won't be defeated so quickly and will be able to satisfy you, Lu Yi. As Yunzai said this, she was very confident. Lu Yi was quite expectant. The two entered the cave mansion, and Lu Yi, carrying Yunzai, made his familiar way back to the bedroom where mysterious and complex array patterns enveloped the cave mansion. Inside the cave mansion, mysterious Tao light circulated, accompanied by the sounds of dragons singing and phoenixes chanting. 4 days later, Yunzai realized she had been overly confident too soon and began to plead for mercy. 6 days later, Yunzai was on the brink of collapse, ultimately fainting away. When Lu Yi stepped out of the room, he looked up at the void at a 45-degree angle, his expression somewhat complex. Lu Yi had thoroughly explored Yunzai's body. It was even more enchanting than before, and her physical strength had become much stronger. Although it was slightly lacking compared to Jian Ruyu, who also possessed an immortal body, it was still exceptionally powerful. Unfortunately, it was still far from satisfying Lu Yi. Lu Yi expressed his sadness. Sometimes having too strong a body can also be a problem. Lu Yi silently went into the cultivation room to receive his task reward. To Lu Yi's delight, after dual cultivation with Yunzai, his improvement was immense. His natural domain was directly elevated to the 5th level, an entire level increase. To think, the natural domain. A single session of dual cultivation had actually enabled Lu Yi to advance a full level. This was somewhat exaggerated, even comparable to the boost that the divine sword steel gave to Lu Yi's sword domain. Truly befitting of an immortal body. Not only that, but Lu Yi's yin-yang realm, which was previously at perfection, also made a breakthrough, reaching the yin-yang domain. Mysterious yin-yang Tao patterns circled around Lu Yi. The patterns were black and white, intertwined together, one yin and one yang, one bright and one dark, carrying an indescribable mysteriousness of the Tao. The yin-yang Tao is an extremely mysterious Tao. As Tao births essence, there arises yin-yang Qi, one of the Taos closest to the origin, even capable of further transformation to deduce other Taos. Lu Yi immersed himself in the mysteriousness of the yin-yang Tao, gaining many insights. After Yunzai's transformation into an immortal body, the effect of the power of nature was much better than before, and her recovery ability had improved. It was only half a day before she woke up. Yunzai stepped out of the room with her ethereal, orchid-like, stunning face showing tiredness. Seeing Lu Yi, she said seriously, Lu Yi, did you take into account my opinion from last time? Lu Yi was stunned, somewhat perplexed. What opinion? To dual cultivate earlier with Sister Ming Yue and Sister Ning Xuang. Yunzai was very serious. By myself, it really won't work. I could die. When Lu Yi heard Yunzai's straightforward words, he felt somewhat awkward. He coughed drily and somewhat sheepishly said, "I did indeed dual cultivate with junior sister some days ago." Yunzai's eyes lit up, revealing a smile. "That's great. Did Sister Ming Yue say anything?" Lu Yi said happily, "Junior sister doesn't seem to resist you anymore as she did before. She even called you Sister Yunzai and told me to find you for dual cultivation." As Lu Yi said this, his face showed relief. Yunzai's expression suddenly turned odd, and she looked at the happy Lu Yi, asking, "How long did you and Sister Ming Yue dual cultivate?" "About a month or so." Why? Lu Yi was somewhat puzzled. Yunzai's face showed no emotion as she shook her head faintly. "It's nothing." Suddenly, Lu Yi thought of something and said, "By the way, Yunzai, rest for a while and let's spar. After your breakthrough to the cave void realm, let me see your current strength." Hearing this, Yunzai too brightened up, eagerly nodding, "Of course. I also want to see how big the gap between you and me is now." Lu Yi murmured with anticipation, "I will defeat Yunzai." Task: defeat Yunzai. Reward: 10,000-year spirit Jade x10, improved understanding of natural Tao skill. Accept task, yes, no. Will update later. Chapter 372, 170, Unlocking New Positions. Chapter 372, -170, Unlocking New Positions. Lu Yi's eyes lit up upon seeing the task reward. Indeed, the task reward was much higher than before. For an average cave void cultivator, even a sword Dao powerhouse like Elder Ming, the sparring reward was only a 10,000-year-old spirit Jade, and merely a single piece at that. Yet for an immortal body like Yunzai, whose cultivation base was even lower than Elder Ming's, the reward was much more generous. A whopping 10 pieces of 10,000-year spirit Jade. You see, 10 pieces of 10,000-year spirit Jade, or what allowed Lu Yi to advance from the first layer of Cave Void to the second level of Cave Void. Given Lu Yi's foundation, his breakthrough required consuming a vast amount of resources, and even so, he could still advance a level within the Cave Void realm. One can imagine how rich the reward was. Lu Yi was very happy. Indeed, after nurturing Yunzai, it was truly effective. If Yunzai was like this, presumably senior sister Ruyu, who was also an immortal body, wouldn't have a lesser reward, right? Lu Yi was somewhat expectant. If he could get both his senior sister and junior sister to transform into the immortal body, it would likely be even better. Just right, he planned to make a trip to the Sea Clan battlefield. The tasks shouldn't be few, and by then, maybe he would have a chance to get the heavenly materials and earthly treasures that could transform his senior sister and junior sister. Lu Yi tucked this thought into his heart. Yunzai used the power of nature to recover, and it took her several hours to eliminate her fatigue. Afterward, Lu Yi and Yunzai left Yunzai's cave mansion. Because the destructive powers of Cave Void Realm cultivators were immensely strong, and this was true for all cultivators, let alone Lu Yi and Yunzai, who was an immortal body. The two did not stay within the 10,000 Flowers sect's territory to spar. Otherwise, even if it were just a sparring match, it might destroy the 10,000 Flowers sect. Without making a sound, the two left the 10,000 Flowers sect protection array and moved to the high altitude at a certain distance from the 10,000 Flowers sect. Not far above their heads was already the outer space, where the stars shone brilliantly and the void was deep and pitch black. Below their feet was a sea of clouds, with distant mountains looking extremely tiny. The gang wind, as sharp as a steel knife scraping bone, swept across Lu Yi's and Yunzai's skin. The high-altitude gang wind was enough to harm an average cave void cultivator, but their physical strength was so great that such wind still could not hurt them. Lu Yi and Yunzai stood facing each other. Yunzai's black hair fluttered, her stunningly beautiful face exuded an ethereal purity, like an immortal walking amidst flowers. Lu Yi's white robe billowed, his handsome face crowned with a gentle smile, looking at Yunzai. Yunzai smiled, "Lu Yi, I'm here." As she spoke, strands of luminescent green light flowed around her body, pulsing with an intense vitality. This was the power of nature, the power of life. Around Yunzai, phantom images of colorful flowers appeared, dazzling with 9 colors and mysterious Tao light, gently swaying. Above her head, a jade lotus flower materialized, swaying and shooting out strands of green light. The myriad green lights, numbering in the thousands, obscured the sky, and as they streaked across, they twisted and shattered space, leaving behind profound black rifts. Lu Yi was also somewhat astonished. After her transformation into an immortal body, Yunzai's strength had undergone an earth-shattering change from before. Such powerful arts would be unstoppable for an ordinary cave void cultivator. Yunzai's insight into the natural Tao was exceedingly profound, greatly augmenting her arts with its power. However, this was not an issue for Lu Yi. A clear and melodious hum of a long sword echoed through the sky as countless golden sword lights spontaneously appeared, densely packed in their thousands. The golden sword lights, accompanied by mysterious sword patterns, emanated sharp and resilient sword intent. With a thought from Lu Yi, all the golden sword lights soared, meeting the green lights. The clash of sword light and green light produced continuous thunderous roars in the sky, creating tiny rifts in its fabric. The green and golden lights shone relentlessly, dazzling as the sun. Within tens of kilometers around, the entire sky looked like a shattered mirror, rifts appearing everywhere. The shockwaves of the collision turned into storms, spreading in all directions, sweeping the clouds below clean away. As the storm reached the forest far below, trees trembled slightly. The stars within the 10,000 Flowers sect's great array all lit up. This alarmed the cultivators of the 10,000 Flowers sect. Granny Hua and a group of divinity transformation elders rose into the air, their faces a picture of astonishment as they looked towards that golden and cyan sun in the sky. What's happening? What is that in the sky? Are there powerhouses in battle? Surely only a unification great powers engagement would spread tremors from such high altitudes down here. We've kept the 10,000 Flowers sect so low profile. Why is there a unification great power causing trouble here? Could they be targeting Yunzai? Granny Hua and the group of divinity transformation elders were indignant. Not only the 10,000 Flowers sect, but the clash at the level of great power was terrifying. The central region spanned over 10 kilometers, and the scorching radiance was visible from tens of thousands of kilometers away, with the violent fluctuations of spiritual energy spreading equally far. Even cultivators from outside, the 10,000 Flowers sect turned their gazes in that direction. After one collision, both the sword light and green light dissipated. Lu Yi's sword domain was not at the same level as Yunzai's natural domain. In normal circumstances, the natural domain should have outmatched the sword domain. But that didn't account for Lu Yi's foundation far outstripping Yunzai's, and his cultivation techniques surpassing hers. Even with the colliding domains, he handled it with ease. 10,000 flower leaf flying technique. Yunzai shouted crisply, her hands sealing. In the realm of blossoming flowers, endless petals fluttered, resplendent with 9 colors, visually stunning yet containing sharp, unmatched edges. Chapter 373, 170, Unlocking New Positions 2. Chapter 373, -170, Unlocking New Positions /2. Countless petals, numbering in the tens of thousands, obscured the sky as they descended upon Lu Yi. Lu Yi raised an eyebrow, with sword shadows flickering in his eyes. Within the sword domain, profound and serene light condensed, all the long swords carried the aura of life and death, akin to the conception of the sword path emanating from heaven and hell, suffocating the living and withering life itself. Yellow spring and blue sky. All the long swords, carrying a terrifying force of death, charged towards the petals. This was a sword Tao skill from the cave void realm that Lu Yi had learned before, yellow spring and blue sky. It harnessed the power of the sword Tao, reaching from the blue sky down to the netherworld, with a whiff of the force of life and death reincarnation, possessing unimaginable might. This sword Tao skill was no less inferior to Heavenly Sword 9 Slashes, which Lu Yi had used in his battle against the Blood Spirit sect ancestor. Long ago, Lu Yi had already cultivated Yellow Spring and Blue Sky to the extreme level, but he had never had the chance to use it. Unexpectedly, he had used it now during a practice session with Yunzai. Lu Yi felt somewhat emotional. Yunzai, having transformed into an immortal body, indeed possessed extraordinary strength, actually pushing him to utilize his skill. To know previously, Yunzai could hardly withstand his sword Tao domain. Yunzai's current strength, even if facing a unification great power, was sufficient to give battle. Lu Yi felt very happy inside. Nurturing Yunzai to this level gave him a sense of accomplishment. In the future, he might even nurture Yunzai into an immortal, and an extremely powerful one at that, dominating the star universe. By then, there would be no need for him to take action himself. Yunzai alone would be enough to eliminate all of Lu Yi's enemies. There were also his senior sister, junior sister, and senior sister Ruyu, whom Lu Yi could similarly cultivate into such powerful beings, after which he could just focus peacefully on his own cultivation. And if they were truly that strong, the rewards from Lu Yi and their practice tasks, as well as various other tasks, were unimaginable. Just thinking about it was delightful. Lu Yi was filled with anticipation. The yellow spring and blue sky, containing the force of reincarnation of life and death with its profound gloom, collided with the petals. The sword technique of the extreme level cave void realm naturally possessed extraordinary might. Even though Yunzai had transformed into an immortal body, and her natural domain was extremely profound, the 10,000 flowers flying leaf technique was still somewhat lacking. The sword light circled, the force of death corroded the petals one by one, turning them into flying ash, and the sky-covering petals visibly disappeared at a rapid pace. Yunzai quickly fell into a disadvantage. Even so, the battle between the two carried a terrifying oppression, with the entire sky filled with cracks and storms. The practitioners of the 10,000 flowers sect below, seeing the cracks appearing in the azure sky, were also shocked. A battle of unification great powers they had witnessed very few times, every instance leaving them in awe. Eventually, the sword light of yellow spring and blue sky eradicated all the petals, and as the sword light approached Yunzai, it gently dissipated. Yunzai's delicate face was slightly pale. She had already used all her strength, with spiritual energy surging and consuming intensely. Even so, she still could not block Lu Yi's sword technique. She smiled helplessly, flew next to Lu Yi and exclaimed, "Lu Yi, you are still so powerful. Even though I have transformed into an immortal body, I am still unable to match you." Lu Yi pinched Yunzai's cheek and said, "Yunzai, you have really surprised me. After transforming into an immortal body, your strength is much greater than before. Ordinary unification great powers would have no way to deal with you." Hearing this, Yunzai brightened up, showing a happy smile. "So I'm already this powerful. Then if there's anything, I can also help you." Seeing Yunzai's happy expression, Lu Yi felt warmth in his heart. Then he thought of something and said, "It's just that your cultivation skill seems not powerful enough. It's still lacking a bit." Yunzai nodded slightly at these words and said, "I am cultivating the sect-suppressing skill of the 10,000 Flowers sect, the 10,000 Flowers Flying Leaf Heart Sutra, which is a cave void realm technique. It also includes some secret techniques, but they can only be cultivated to the cave void realm." Hearing this, Lu Yi realized. Thinking about it, Yunzai was different from him. His cultivation technique was the Immortal Sword Scripture and Immortal Scripture. And in terms of skills, he received various high-level skills as task rewards, including Unification Realm skills, so he was completely not lacking in this aspect. Even his senior sister and junior sister had better resources in this regard, as the mysterious and powerful master probably gave them deep and profound cultivation skills, which could probably be cultivated to the Mahayana or even the Tribulation Crossing realm with no problem. Senior sister Ruyu was naturally a heavenly pride demon from the Divine Sword sect, so there was no need to say more. Comparatively speaking, Yunzai had the worst conditions. Suddenly, Lu Yi had an idea, his eyes lighting up, and he smiled. "That's right, I have a Mahayana realm cultivation technique, the Green Lotus Unity skill, which is a technique of natural Tao and very suitable for you to cultivate." This technique was obtained by Lu Yi a long time ago, even before acquiring the Immortal Sword Scripture after reaching the nascent Soul Realm. Back then, Lu Yi had thought if he didn't have the chance to acquire the complete Immortal Sword Scripture, he'd make do with the Green Lotus Unity skill. Unexpectedly, he later acquired the complete technique in the ruins of the Immortal Sword sect, so the Green Lotus Unity skill had never been used. Since the Tao cultivated by his senior sister and junior sister was not natural Tao, cultivating this Green Lotus Unity skill wouldn't be effective. Now it was just right for Yunzai's use. Chapter 374, 170, Unlocking New Positions 3. Chapter 374-170, Unlocking New Positions /3. Upon hearing this, Yunzai's eyes lit up, and she nodded with a smile, "Okay." Yunzai had no intention of rejecting. She belonged entirely to Lu Yi now. What Lu Yi said was final. Lu Yi pointed a finger at Yunzai's forehead, transferring the Green Lotus Unity skill to her using the power of his divine sense. As an immortal body, Yunzai's talents were unparalleled. Just as Lu Yi had begun transferring the Green Lotus Unity skill to her, Yunzai closed her eyes, and a green lotus mark appeared on her forehead. Behind her in the space, a green lotus slowly emerged, swaying continuously. Luyi felt a little astounded inside, truly deserving of the immortal body. She grasped it just by looking at it once. Yunzai opened her eyes, a look of joy emerging, and she hugged Luyi, happily kissing him. This cultivation technique suits me very well. If I cultivate it to the returning true realm, it will significantly enhance my strength. Seeing Yunzai happy, Luyi also showed a smile, as long as you're happy. Then Luyi thought for a moment and smiled. Speaking of which, you manage this technique yourself. You can pass it on to the cultivators of the 10,000 Flowers sect. It will certainly help Granny Hua and the others. Yunzai was startled looking at Luyi. Luyi, are you serious? This was a Mahayana realm cultivation technique, capable of fostering a great sect of the Mahayana realm. She hadn't expected you would agree to let the 10,000 Flowers sect use it. Luyi smiled. The 10,000 Flowers sect is your home. Naturally, I would not be stingy. In fact, Luyi had already shared this technique with his own sect, but unfortunately, there were not many cultivators in his sect suitable for this technique. The cultivators best suited for the Green Lotus Unity skill were those who comprehended the natural Tao, and indeed, the immortals of the 10,000 Flowers sect were the most suitable. Besides these, Luyi had obtained various cultivation skills and techniques from missions, many of which he had given to the sect leader. These could be used to expand the foundation of the White Cloud sect. As for the Immortal Sword Scripture, Luyi did not share it with the White Cloud sect because, after all, this technique was imparted to him by an immortal of the Immortal Sword sect, as a part of the Immortal Sword sect's heritage. Without that peerless immortal's permission, Luyi felt it inappropriate to freely share such a technique. Of course, Luyi believed that it wouldn't take long for him to comprehend an immortal scripture on his own, and then he would no longer have to worry about issues of heritage. Yunzai's ethereal eyes moved with emotion as she hugged Luyi, laughing. Thank you, Luyi. What's there to thank between us? Luyi rubbed Yunzai's black, lustrous hair, then something crossed his mind, and a mischievous smile appeared on his face. Of course, if you're going to thank me, you can't just do it with words, right? Yunzai was startled, looking at Luyi, and blinked. Then how do you want me to thank you? The smile on Luyi's face grew more wicked. The few requests I mentioned last time. Yunzai stiffened, her face blushing as she glared at Luyi. You're terrible, that kind of. Luyi said seriously, gratitude should look like gratitude. Yunzai's expression was stiff, then she reluctantly nodded. All right then, just once. Luyi nodded smilingly. Of course it can. With the first time, wouldn't there be a second and a third, an endless number of times? Luyi led Yunzai back to the White Cloud sect, silently passing through the sect protection array without disturbing anyone. Soon, sounds akin to dragons singing and phoenixes crying were heard once again within the cave mansion. Meanwhile, the cultivators of the 10,000 Flowers sect, even after the practice session had ended, remained in a state of uncertainty, curious about which two unification great powers were battling. Not just the cultivators of the 10,000 Flowers sect, but monks nearby also discussed and speculated whether another great power intended to attack the 10,000 Flowers sect. No one knew that this was merely a practice session between Luyi and Yunzai. A week later, Luyi walked out of the bedroom. Although he still felt somewhat reluctant, he also felt a small sense of pride as he had unlocked many new positions with Yunzai by leveraging kindness for favors. After all, being a cultivator, his physical body was strong, and many positions could be utilized. Luyi found it quite interesting. While Yunzai was still unconscious, Luyi claimed the rewards for the practice task. 10 pieces of 10,000-year spirit jade. Luyi carefully stored them away. Although they might not raise his cultivation base to the 3rd level of Cave Void, they would significantly boost his cultivation base. Next came the perception of the natural Tao. After absorbing it, amidst the profusion of anomalies, Luyi's understanding of the natural domain deepened continuously. When the absorption was complete, Luyi was thrilled to find that his comprehension of the natural domain had greatly improved. Although it wasn't as significant as the boost from the dual cultivation, it was still rapid. Dual cultivation had to consider Yunzai's physical condition and couldn't be practiced all the time, but practice tasks were no problem and were sustainable. At this rate, it probably wouldn't be long before Luyi could elevate the natural domain to the perfection realm, at which point he would be just a step away from perceiving the natural law. Senior sister Ruyu, also an immortal body, had a strength superior to Yunzai, and likely the task rewards would be even more substantial. Lu Yi's sword domain hadn't improved for a long time, but if he completed a task with senior sister Ruyu, his sword domain could finally be elevated again. Soon, his sword domain could be rapidly advanced to perfection, or even perceive the sword Tao law. Lu Yi recalled what senior sister Ruyu had said about spending some time at Wenjian Manor after returning from the Sea Clan battlefield, which would naturally be a good thing for Lu Yi. A day later, Yunzai finally stepped out of the bedroom, her ethereal, fairy-like face flushed with embarrassment. Many positions from the recent dual cultivation made her feel bashful even now, despite her straightforward nature. Her gaze toward Lu Yi was tinged with reproach, making even someone as thick-skinned as Lu Yi feel slightly embarrassed. Then Lu Yi spoke. Yunzai, I plan to visit the Sea Clan battlefield in a few days. Upon hearing this, Yunzai was startled. You want to go to the Sea Clan battlefield? I've heard that the fighting there is very intense now. It could be quite dangerous. Lu Yi smiled. Don't you know my strength? It won't be a problem. These days, my cultivation speed has slowed down a lot. I plan to gain some experience. In fact, after sparring with Yunzai, Lu Yi had found new ways to obtain cultivation resources, as each practice provided 10 pieces of 10,000-year spirit jade. Even without going to the Sea Clan battlefield, Lu Yi could improve rapidly. However, the routine practice tasks did not reward heavenly materials and earthly treasures, and if Lu Yi wanted to obtain the immortal treasures that would transform both his senior sister and junior sister into immortal bodies, he needed to venture out. The Sea Clan battlefield was undoubtedly the best choice. Of course, Lu Yi also planned to check out the tasks on Mist Island. Hearing Lu Yi's words, Yunzai looked up at him and said, I want to go too. My strength is not weak now, I can accompany you. More updates to follow. Chapter 375, 171, The Source of the Sea Clan Invasion. Chapter 375-171, The Source of the Sea Clan Invasion. You're going too? Lu Yi was startled and somewhat unexpected. Yes, my strength should be enough to ensure my own safety, Yunzai nodded. I want to accompany you. Hearing this, Lu Yi thought for a moment. Indeed, considering Yunzai's combat power, Lu Yi wouldn't have to worry too much even against a great power of the unification realm. The only issue was that Yunzai now had an immortal body, which was quite eye-catching. But that wasn't a big problem either. With the 1,000 transformation skill at her disposal, Yunzai could easily transform into another appearance, undetectable by anyone. Moreover, with Lu Yi's mastery of the small void technique and the possession of the breaking void boat, even if there were any problems, Lu Yi would be able to protect Yunzai. With this in mind, Lu Yi felt that there really wouldn't be any problems if Yunzai went along. On the contrary, it might be beneficial. After all, on the way, the two could spar from time to time and even use dual cultivation to enhance their strength. Thinking along these lines, Lu Yi said, No problem, do you need to inform Granny Hua? I don't want her to think I've abducted you and come after me. Yunzai smiled faintly. Granny adores you too much, she wouldn't bear to do that. Then she paused and added, I'll let Granny know so she won't worry when she discovers I'm not around. Lu Yi nodded. Afterward, Yunzai and Lu Yi went to visit Granny Hua in her cave mansion. Upon seeing Lu Yi, Granny Hua herself was stunned for a moment. His arrival was so quiet that she hadn't noticed. Then her face lit up with joy, and she warmly welcomed Lu Yi's arrival. Why didn't you let me know before you came? Granny Hua complained. That way I could have welcomed you properly. Lu Yi smiled. Granny Hua, you're being too polite, it makes me feel like an outsider. That's true, Granny Hua, beaming with happiness, said. I should also thank you for the 9 colored bellflowers you gave Yunzai. Without them, she would not have been able to transform into an immortal body. Granny Hua was naturally aware of the reasons behind Yunzai's transformation. Lu Yi laughed. Yunzai is mine. Of course, it's my responsibility. Granny Hua nodded repeatedly. Yunzai is lucky to have met you. She was very happy for Yunzai. Then, Yunzai expressed her desire to accompany Lu Yi to the Sea Clan battlefield. Upon hearing this, Granny Hua hesitated, but after Lu Yi assured her, Granny Hua nodded and agreed. She trusted Lu Yi deeply. Still, Granny Hua kept reminding Yunzai and Lu Yi to be careful and safe while outside. Naturally, Lu Yi and Yunzai kept nodding and agreeing. Afterward, Granny Hua invited a few divinity transformation elders from the 10,000 Flowers sect along with Yun Zai and Lu Yi to have a casual meal, as a way of welcoming Lu Yi to the sect. The next morning, Lu Yi and Yun Zai left the sect protection array of the 10,000 Flowers sect quietly and without notice. Originally, Lu Yi had planned to stay with Yun Zai for a few more days before leaving, but since Yun Zai decided to go with him, there was no longer any need for him to stay. Having left the sect protection array, Yun Zai glanced back and with an enigmatic smile on her ethereal face said, "Lu Yi, you actually managed to bypass the sect protection array so effortlessly." Lu Yi smiled. "After all, I'm the one who designed this sect protection array. I know every strength and flaw, so naturally I can come and go unimpeded." Yun Zai wrinkled her nose and laughed. "My 10,000 Flowers sect has become your backyard. Have you sneaked in here before?" Lu Yi rolled his eyes. "Of course not. If I had come to the sect before, how could I not have looked for you?" Yun Zai laughed. "Not necessarily. All my senior and junior sisters have been missing you dearly. Whenever I attend a banquet, they keep asking me about you." Lu Yi's face turned odd. Was she jealous? He replied earnestly, "That's their concern. It has nothing to do with me. In my eyes, Yun Zai, you are far more attractive than your senior and junior sisters." Yun Zai smiled happily. After that, both of them used the 1,000 transformation skill, with Lu Yi changing into a handsome young male practitioner, and Yun Zai into a pretty female cultivator. Both of them were proficient in the 1,000 transformation skill, and even if practitioners familiar with them were to stand in front of them, it would be difficult to recognize the pair. Then Lu Yi and Yun Zai began their journey eastward, moving towards the direction of the Sea Clan battlefield. In the past, the high-level leaders of the Eastern Domain Alliance army had negotiated with the Sea Clan powerhouses, resulting in an unfortunate outcome. During negotiations, the two sides ended up fighting, and the meeting ended in discord. However, this also revealed to Eastern Domain practitioners why the Sea Clan had suddenly launched a large-scale invasion of the mainland. The number of Sea Clan practitioners was enormous, even more than those of the 5 domains, and they were likewise divided into many factions. The battles among these factions were even more brutal than those on the mainland, also centered around the struggle for territories and resources. Somehow, about a few decades ago, the Xianxia Dragon Python clan suddenly gained 3 terrifying existences within the Void Immortal realm. The so-called Void Immortals were those who, although failing their immortal tribulation crossing, managed to preserve their lives under the heavenly tribulation. Such beings, after undergoing the refinement of immortal tribulation crossing, had their physical bodies transformed into immortal spirit bodies. The so-called immortal spirit body was different from an immortal body. An immortal body signifies a potential strong enough to become an immortal or even more powerful, whereas the immortal spirit body is the physical mortal body going through a transformation into an immortal after the baptism of immortal tribulation crossing. It represents a life-level change from mortal to immortal. However, since they did not truly become immortals and did not transform the spiritual power in their bodies into immortal power, there still exists a gap compared to an immortal. Chapter 376, 171, The Source of the Sea Clan Invasion 2. Chapter 376-171, The Source of the Sea Clan Invasion /2. Therefore, such beings are referred to as Void Immortals. However, even a Void Immortal is still an immortal, naturally far surpassing tribulation-crossing practitioners, possessing extremely terrifying strength. Generally speaking, such existences are extremely difficult to come by. After all, how terrifying is the immortal tribulation crossing? When facing such heavenly tribulation, one either succeeds or fails. Success naturally means ascension to immortal status, while failure almost always results in being reduced to ashes, with eons of cultivation turning to smoke. Even throughout history, only a very few have managed to survive after failing the tribulation. Nobody would have thought that the Xianxia Dragon Python clan would actually produce 3 Void Immortals. And all at the same time. This shook the entire Sea Clan. After all, these 3 Void Immortals were originally tribulation-crossing practitioners of the Xianxia Dragon Python clan who had been silent for a long time, with almost no hope of ascension, certain to die under the immortal tribulation crossing. Now, with 3 tribulation crossing practitioners transformed into Void Immortals, naturally, there must be some unknown reasons behind it. Some say that the three Void Immortals were born because the Qianwang Dragon Python clan obtained some extremely rare immortal treasure. Others say that a powerful immortal came from another world into the Sea clan and turned these tribulation-crossing practitioners into Void Immortals. Still others say that the Xianxia Dragon Python clan discovered some strange power in the void, which, although it did not allow one to become an immortal, could preserve one's life during the immortal tribulation crossing. There were various speculations. However, regardless of what the Sea clan cultivators guessed, the fact was that the Xianxia Dragon Python clan gained 3 tremendously terrifying Void Immortals. Because of the existence of the 3 Void Immortals, the Black Water Flood Dragon clan, which was in close proximity to the power of the Xianxia Dragon Pythons, was naturally the first to be affected. The power of a Void Immortal powerhouse is simply not something a tribulation-crossing practitioner can withstand. The Xianxia Dragon Python clan merely needed to send 1 Void Immortal to the territory of the Black Water Flood Dragon clan, and with a single palm strike, a tribulation-crossing practitioner was reduced to ashes. This left the Black Water Flood Dragon clan completely speechless and almost terrified. However, as one of the ruling races of the Sea clan, the Black Water Flood Dragon clan naturally possessed a clan guardian immortal artifact, and with its explosive power, they barely resisted the Void Immortal of the Xianxia Dragon Python clan. But the Xianxia Dragon Python clan itself was a dominant force and also possessed a clan guardian immortal artifact. Not only that, but they also had 3 Void Immortals. With such strength, the Black Water Flood Dragon clan was unable to hold back, ultimately having to submit and become a subsidiary power of the Xianxia Dragon Python clan. Still not satisfied, the Xianxia Dragon Python clan continued to forcefully expand, taking over a large swathe of Sea clan territories, especially in the Eastern Domain Sea area, where nearly all regions became dominated by the Xianxia Dragon Python. Afterward, the Xianxia Dragon Python clan even began to advance into the deep sea regions. Nevertheless, while still striving to unite the Sea clan, the Xianxia Dragon Python clan ordered the Black Water Flood Dragon clan to lead various Sea clan forces in an invasion of the Eastern Domain. It must be said that after acquiring 3 Void Immortals, the ambition of the Xianxia Dragon Python clan grew tremendously. After all, Void Immortals were too strong, with even tribulation-crossing practitioners being no match. Such power naturally bred ample ambition. They aimed not only to unify the entire Sea clan, but also to bring the inland under their control. If the Xianxia Dragon Python clan truly managed to unify the entire Tiananmen, then they would gain access to a vast amount of resources, the benefits of which were unimaginable. While the Xianxia Dragon Python clan was still occupied with uniting the Sea clan, the Black Water Flood Dragon clan, leading a group of Sea clan cultivators, began their assault on the inland. Because of the Xianxia Dragon Python's formidable strength, they had no intention of negotiating peace with the Eastern region practitioners and hoped only to bring the Eastern Domain into their fold. For this reason, neither side gave ground, continuing to battle to this day. Fortunately, although the Xianxia Dragon Python clan possessed 3 Void Immortals, uniting the entire Sea clan was not so simple a task, and they still couldn't afford to be distracted. And the Eastern Domain Alliance army was not weak either, possessing several immortal sect holy lands. The Sea clan's invasion of the Eastern Domain had been ongoing for decades. Since the Eastern Domain Alliance army widely recruited cultivators to join the forces resisting the Sea clan, some were conscription targets of sects, others were loose cultivators attracted by the promise of rewards for military achievements. The Eastern Domain Alliance army expanded rapidly, trading blows with the Sea clan, even managing to push the battlefield a little toward the regions close to the east. Nevertheless, the fighting remained incredibly fierce on the battlefield. The Sea clan continued to receive reinforcements from Sea clan cultivators pressed by the Xianxia Dragon Python clan, their strength not much weaker than the Eastern Domain Alliance army. Lu Yi and Yunzai traveled eastward, and as they drew closer to the Sea clan battlefield, the land became increasingly desolate. Lu Yi and Yunzai passed through numerous sect territories, all but deserted. Some still bore marks of fierce battles, with blood and bodies strewn across the ground, and the once magnificent palaces turned to ruined eaves and broken walls. This place shouldn't have been invaded by the Sea Clan, right? There's still some distance from the battlefield, so why are there such intense signs of battle? I looked at the ruined landscape and asked with confusion. Lu Yi shook his head. Once chaos ensues, there will always be cultivators aiming to take advantage of the turmoil, even against their own kind, turning into bandits. It seems this sect was likely targeted by some power that retreated from the Sea Clan battlefield. Yunzai, being intelligent, blinked her eyes and nodded slightly, indicating that she understood. These ravaged sect areas were clearly ransacked, almost devoid of any resources, with very few living creatures to be seen. Besides the sect territories, there were also some cities and mortal towns. Chapter 377, 171, The Source of the Sea Clan Invasion 3. Chapter 377, -171, The Source of the Sea Clan Invasion /3. When catastrophe struck, powerful cultivators might flee for their lives, but for ordinary people, the vast land, fraught with fierce beasts and dangers, was a death trap once they left the safety of their towns and villages. They had no choice but to resign themselves to their fate. The cultivators within the towns wore worried expressions, some numb to the situation, yet they continued to toil and farm. After communicating with a few elders, Lu Yi understood that some immortals had passed by and informed them about the Sea Clan invasion. Regrettably, they could only await the impending disaster in quiet anticipation. This was the destiny of mortals. The ancient city had become somewhat deserted, but it fared much better than the towns, with many cultivators stopping there. Some of these cultivators were local, with modest strength, merely at the Qi cultivation realm or the foundation establishment realm. Such power was exceedingly dangerous when traversing rugged mountains and wild ridges, especially during perilous times like these. Like the ordinary people, these cultivators had no choice but to stay on the land where they were born and raised, quietly waiting for fate's judgment. Others possessed not insignificant strength, some even reaching the nascent soul and divinity transformation realm. Lu Yi and Zai sat quietly in a tavern, listening to the conversations among the cultivators. A few fairly strong cultivators were speaking, their strengths all within the nascent soul realm, with the leading elder possessing the power of the divinity transformation stage. Now, it seems our Eastern Domain Alliance army has gained an advantage. There's a fair chance we can drive those Sea Clan back to the ocean. Going now, the risk is a bit smaller, and we might gain some battle merits and various resources, said the divinity transformation elder with a confident smile, taking control of the situation. Brother Wang is indeed wise. No wonder you were able to cultivate to the divinity transformation realm. A middle-aged man at the nascent soul realm said, his face full of smiles as he complimented the elder. Ha ha ha, we loose cultivators can't compare to the cultivators from great sects with their abundant resources. If we want to improve, we always need to use our brains. To safely cultivate and advance, safety must come first. The divinity transformation elder explained his life lesson with an air of calm confidence. A crowd of nascent soul cultivators nodded their heads in agreement. Exactly, to cultivate in peace and quiet, finding opportunities to gain some resources, even for us. There's the chance to reach the pinnacle of the immortal path, said a somewhat younger cultivator, nodding vigorously. Moreover, we loose cultivators must stick together. Only by supporting each other can we be safer. Hearing these loose cultivators, Luya felt a strange feeling inside. These cultivators all had bright futures. They prioritized safety above all else. They were experts in flea arts, and they discussed how to escape when facing stronger cultivators. Luya felt they were impressive, almost on par with Master Wu Qingfeng of his own sect. Back when Qingzhu was in great turmoil, his sect leader had relied on his exceptionally profound flea arts to lead a group of divinity transformation cultivators from the Blood Spirit sect and the Heavenly Snake sect on a merry chase, as if walking a dog. Yunzai, beside him, couldn't help but show a hint of amusement on her face as she soaked in the conversation. Where shall we go next? Shall we join the area where the female sword Immortal from the Divine Sword sect is? I hear she is merely a cave void cultivator but has slain a unification great power. Surely it would be safer there, right? A young cultivator asked, his eyes reflecting his admiration. Foolish, how can we go there? The divinity transformation elder slapped the table, disappointed and distressed. That female sword Immortal is indeed a rare demonic genius, barely less so than that legendary demon of Qingzhu, but such a genius will undoubtedly be targeted by the Sea clan. If the Sea clan sends a great Mahayana to exterminate her, she might escape, but what about us? Following her won't give us a low chance of death. His words rendered everyone speechless, and the room fell silent for a moment. What Brother Wang said makes a lot of sense. I believe as well, a plain-looking middle-aged woman said, slightly nodding her head. Indeed, such a showy and demonic figure will inevitably be the Sea clan's thorn in the side, impossible to ignore. If we follow her, we might not live long, another middle-aged man agreed, nodding. The young cultivator, though reluctant, sighed after some thought. What Brother Wang says is true. Life is most important after all. Then, Brother Wang, where do you think is best for us to go? Asked another middle-aged man. With a confident smile, the Divinity Transformation Elder said, Don't worry, I already have someone in mind. Oh, please elaborate, Brother Wang. The crowd of cultivators looked curiously at the Divinity Transformation Elder. Not only them, but even Lu Yi and Yunzai were curious. With a slight smile, the elder then said, Let's join the group from the White Cloud sect led by Nangong Moyu. Nangong Moyu, who's that? The crowd of nascent soul cultivators looked on blankly. Lu Yi and Yunzai exchanged a glance, both with an odd expression on their faces. What in the world, joining Brother Nangong Moyu? With a smile, the Divinity Transformation Elder said, You must know about the White Cloud sect, right? The sect of that demonic genius from Qingzhou. Of course we know of it, they responded. This Nangong Moyu is a disciple from the sect where the genius resides. I've inquired around. Some of the sect's cultivators are quite intelligent, making use of the terrain to ambush and kill many Sea clan cultivators. Although none of the vanquished were particularly powerful Sea clan cultivators, the approach was durable and safe. That's one aspect. Another is that these cultivators are disciples of the White Cloud sect. Considering the talents of that genius, it's likely she has a great chance of ascending to Immortal, making the White Cloud sect an immortal sect. Establishing a good relationship with them now is also beneficial for us, the Divinity Transformation Elder said, eyes twinkling with glee. Lu Ye. He was astonished. This old man was something else, considering so many angles. Yunzai wore an odd expression, glancing at Lu Yi and transmitted, This fellow Taoist seems quite shrewd, doesn't he? Speechless, Lu Yi transmitted back, Is this the wisdom loose cultivators need to survive, perhaps? Yunzai smiled lightly. Meanwhile, the nascent soul cultivators exchanged glances, expressing joy. That's Brother Wang for you. Brilliant. Being in touch with that genius indeed will be good for us. With meticulous thinking like Brother Wang's, we are impressed. The cultivators spoke one after another. In that case, let's settle on this plan, the Divinity Transformation Elder said with a smile. Just then Lu Yi coughed and, wearing a slight smile, said, Gentlemen, we also plan to head to the Sea clan battlefield. Hearing Brother's words, we would like to join the White Cloud sect's team as well. How about it, take us two along? Chapter 378, 172, Reward for the Task of Killing the Sea Clan. Chapter 378-172, Reward for the Task of Killing the Sea Clan. Lu Yi suddenly struck up a conversation, causing the Divinity Transformation Elder and the nascent soul cultivators to all look over, their eyes filled with caution as they sized up Lu Yi and Yunzai. Lu Yi and Yunzai appeared harmless, both exhibiting the cultivation base of the nascent soul realm, without showing anything too exceptional. The Divinity Transformation Elder surnamed Wang assessed Lu Yi and Yunzai, then declined with a smile. We won't be departing for some time, so I'm afraid we won't be able to accompany you for now. The other nascent soul cultivators nodded in agreement. Our apologies to the two Taoist friends. Indeed, we have other matters to attend to. Lu Yi was exasperated, thinking just how overly cautious these people were. Lu Yi spoke with a smile, Actually, Senior, I am also from White Cloud sect, an inner sect disciple. During the recruitment years ago, I was in seclusion and didn't join my brothers and sisters. Now, having hit a bottleneck in my cultivation, I've come to the Sea clan battlefield to gain experience. We were planning to search for our senior brothers and sisters, but upon hearing your conversation, we thought to accompany you. Upon hearing this, the group of cultivators were taken aback, somewhat astonished. The Divinity Transformation Elder had an odd look on his face as he regarded Lu Yi. You are a disciple of White Cloud sect. Indeed, this is my inner sect disciple token. Take a look if you don't believe me, Lu Yi said as he produced his token. This was generally a symbol of one's identity as an inner sect disciple of White Cloud sect and a treasure for storing sect points. However, since Lu Yi became famous, White Cloud Sect's resources were readily available for his use, and there was no one within the sect who didn't recognize him. Thus, his token was of little use and had been left gathering dust in a corner. Thankfully, he hadn't discarded it. Upon seeing Lu Yi present the inner sect disciple token, the Divinity Transformation Elder and several nascent soul cultivators examined it. The Divinity Transformation Elder revealed a look of surprise. I have seen White Cloud Sect's inner sect disciple tokens before. This is genuine. Then the Divinity Transformation Elder showed a warm smile. So you are from White Cloud Sect. Indeed, we intended to meet Nangong Moyu and other Taoist friends. We were planning to leave later, but now that we have 2 Taoist friends here, we can delay the less important matters and set off ahead of schedule. Taoist Wang is right, we can depart earlier. One after another, the cultivators spoke up, their faces beaming with smiles. Lu Yi was exasperated again, as these people's faces changed rather quickly. However, Lu Yi didn't mind too much. Out in the world, it was extra caution that could extend one's life. Considering their prior cautiousness, it was normal for them to be so vigilant. Lu Yi also responded with a smile. In that case, we can set off soon. It's been a long time since I've seen my senior brothers and sisters, and I miss them. No problem, the Divinity Transformation Elder said with a smile. I know the area where they are now. Let's set off immediately. Oh, by the way, may I know your esteemed name, Taoist friend? Lu Yi smiled. My name is Li Yun. So it's Taoist Li Yun. I've long admired you. Each of the cultivators was very polite. After finishing their meal, the group rose to their feet, leaving the ancient city and heading towards the location of the White Cloud Sect disciples. Along the way, they chatted together. The leading Divinity Transformation cultivator was named Wang Beifeng, all hailing from Ling Province, located near Qingzhou, one of the great states adjacent to Qingzhou. The other nascent soul cultivators were from various great states in the eastern domain, and had become Taoist friends through encounters over the years. As a Divinity Transformation cultivator and a loose cultivator, Wang Beifeng could be considered quite the slick operator, with a broad network, frequently moving among Ling Province and several neighboring great states. He had also spent considerable time in Qingzhou. Wang Beifeng was naturally aware of the Great War in Qingzhou in the past, and was familiar with what happened, which was why he had such a strong impression of White Cloud Sect and Lu Yi. During a rest, Wang Beifeng mentioned, I've heard of him, the Qingzhou Immortal seed, ever since he gained minor fame in the East Forest ruins. I can say that I have always been following his growth. Even so, I never imagined he would grow so fast. Taoist Wang, you've been following Lu Yi since then. Wasn't he not that strong initially? The middle-aged woman with plain looks inquired. Her name was Lin Yue, coming from another great state a distance from Qingzhou. Wang Beifeng showed a nostalgic look as he replied, Yes, the Immortal seed was probably only at the Foundation establishment realm back then, not very strong. I heard of him because he rescued some loose cultivators in the East Forest ruins. Among them was a descendant of a good friend of mine, so I heard about it. At first, I didn't take it seriously, but within just a few years, the Immortal seed astonishingly broke through to the Golden Core realm, and from there skyrocketed, becoming very famous. Now, in a little over a century, I heard that he surmounted the heavenly tribulation 2 years ago and should now be at the cave void stage. The revelation sent shivers through the others, utterly shocked, from Foundation establishment to cave void realm in a century. No wonder even immortals have praised him. By the way, aren't you from White Cloud Sect, Taoist Li? Have you ever met Lu Yi? Is he as formidable as the rumors say? A beautiful, mature woman asked curiously. The others also looked toward Lu Yi. Lu Yi cleared his throat seriously. Brother Lu indeed has extraordinary strength and high talent. He is also incredibly handsome and dashing, like an immortal descending to the mortal world. Chapter 379, 172, Reward for the Task of Killing the Sea Clan 2. Chapter 379-172, Reward for the Task of Killing the Sea Clan /2. Yunzai raised the corners of her mouth with a trace of amusement and sent a telepathic message to Lu Yi, who praises themselves like that. Lu Yi replied telepathically, Am I not telling the truth? For a moment, Yunzai was silent. What Lu Yi said was indeed the truth, she couldn't refute it. Everyone who heard Lu Yi's words grew even more astonished. Along the way, their progress was stop and go. While certainly much slower than Lu Yi and Yunzai as nascent soul cultivators, they weren't too slow either. Lu Yi and Yunzai weren't in a great rush, so they continued at the others' pace. After more than 20 days, they finally reached the fringes of the Sea Clan battlefield. Upon arriving at the Sea Clan battlefield, Lu Yi found that the places they passed were nearly devoid of life. Many ancient cities had been destroyed, reduced to ruins, and numerous towns were completely razed to the ground. The air was heavy, with a somber and oppressive atmosphere. We have now entered the Sea Clan battlefield, so let's all be a little more cautious, Wang Beifeng said earnestly. The other cultivators nodded in agreement. Even Lu Yi and Yunzai grew more solemn than before. We're about 3 days' journey from Feiyun Stream, where the White Cloud sect cultivators frequently appear, Wang Beifeng reminded them. Let us be cautious until we meet up with them. Let's try not to cause any unnecessary trouble before then. Hearing this, all cultivators nodded in understanding. The group continued on their way, and before long, Lu Yi's eyebrows raised as he looked to the right, sensing several strong presences. These were distinct from the aura of ordinary cultivators, likely belonging to Sea Clan cultivators. Yunzai also noticed something and glanced in that direction. A while later, Wang Beifeng and the rest of the nascent soul cultivators became aware of it as well. All the cultivators were startled and looked in the direction of the presences. That aura, is it from the Sea Clan? A young man said. Should we go have a look? This young man, named Lin Ming, was only a little over 300 years old, but had already reached the nascent soul realm. He was undoubtedly a talented genius, even without the backing of a sect. If Lin Ming were to join a sect, his talents would place him among the top geniuses in the White Cloud sect, not much inferior to the likes of Nangong Moyu, Zai Tianming, and Wang Tianzun. Hearing this, everyone turned to Wang Beifeng. After contemplating for a moment, Wang Beifeng said, "There are only 4 nascent souls, let's go have a look. There shouldn't be any problems. Let's decide what to do after that." On hearing this, everyone nodded. They flew toward that direction. Soon the group arrived at the source of the auras, which was a dense, wooded valley. Within the valley were simple huts made of trees and thatched grass, forming a small village. 4 men in the nascent soul realm were floating in the air. The leader had an elder floating in front of him. The elder's face was pale, and he struggled ceaselessly. The 4 men laughed loudly, seemingly very pleased with the elder's reaction. Below them, numerous mortals watched the 4 in the sky with faces filled with terror. Not far away, there were some corpses and blood scattered across the ground. "Ha ha ha, nothing beats the screaming of these ants," the leading man said jubilantly, giving an abrupt squeeze, and the elder's body cracked, eliciting rounds of excruciating screams. This prompted a barrage of cries from the mortals below, filled with anger and fear. As Lu Yi and his group arrived, they witnessed this scene and their expressions grew grim. "Damn the Sea Clan, daring to strut around our eastern domain, bullying our human clan." Lin Ming was full of murderous intent as he watched the 4 Sea Clan cultivators intently. The others were equally furious. "Don't act rashly," Wang Beifeng hastily held him back, whispering, "The Sea Clan always moves in groups. With only 4 nascent soul cultivators here, there must be others nearby. Considering the proximity to the border battlefield, there might be a large Sea Clan force undertaking a major operation." On hearing this, Lin Yue and the others' expressions changed slightly. The elder had been tortured for quite some time and appeared very weak, but there was no fear on his face, only anger and hatred. "May the heavens curse the Sea Clan, you've ruined our families. You will not die well." "Not die well? Mere mortals with a lifespan of only a century are no more than the flick of a finger to us, and you dare to curse our deaths," laughed the Sea Clan man. "Your eastern domain will eventually belong to our Sea Clan. When that time comes, your human clan will be but livestock for our keeping, only fit to be our food." The Sea Clan cultivator then applied more pressure, causing the elder's bones to make another sound as he screamed in agony. The Sea Clan cultivators watched with mocking enjoyment as the elder struggled, as if watching a delightful play. The words of the Sea Clan cultivators filled the distant cultivators with even greater rage. Lin Ming looked to Wang Beifeng and said, "Taoist Wang, with so many of us here, are we afraid of just 4 nascent soul cultivators? If we strike them down swiftly like thunder, we could just leave afterward." After some thought, Wang Beifeng firmly declared, "All right, let's kill them first and then go. We're cultivators after all, what stature do we have if we bully mortals?" Everyone agreed. Perhaps for some cultivators, The lives of these mortals were not significant, but the brazen arrogance of the Qi clan cultivators was utterly distasteful. Chapter 380, 172, Reward for the Task of Killing the Qi Clan 3. Chapter 380-172, Reward for the Task of Killing the Qi Clan /3. Of course, there were cultivators who also harbored empathy for mortals, and naturally wished to draw their swords to aid those in injustice. At this moment, Lu Yi's expression was very calm, but his heart was filled with anger. Although these mortals were neither relatives nor friends, Lu Yi also held sympathy for the weak. His breath had long since locked onto those 4 Qi clan cultivators, and even if Wang Beifeng and the others were unwilling to take action, he would make his move. However, what surprised him in the end was that, although Wang Beifeng seemed steady, he had not expected him to have a bit of a hot blood, actually willing to take action. Lu Yi silently told himself, I must kill these 4 Qi clan cultivators in front of me. Task: kill 4 Qi clan cultivators. Reward: 100 drops of 1,000-year-old spirit marrow, enhancement of water Tao enlightenment. Accept the task, yes, no. Lu Yi raised an eyebrow. There was no need to say much about the 1,000-year-old spirit marrow. Though it wasn't very useful to the current Lu Yi, it was definitely a good thing. What surprised Lu Yi was that killing Qi clan cultivators could actually enhance the understanding of the water Tao. This was indeed good news. Since elder brother Jiang Fan arrived at the Qi clan battlefield, Lu Yi's grasp of the water intent realm hadn't improved for quite a while. Lu Yi accepted the task. Meanwhile, Wang Beifeng and the other cultivators had finished their discussions and suddenly burst forth, attacking the 4 Qi clan cultivators with all their might. Kill! Wang Beifeng was using a mirror cultivation treasure. The mirror shot out a beam of light, blasting towards the leading Qi clan cultivator. Lin Ming and others were also each using their own cultivation treasures and arts, attacking other Qi clan cultivators. These 4 Qi clan cultivators were all at the nascent soul realm. Faced with the siege of many nascent soul cultivators and a divinity transformation cultivator, their faces changed immediately on the spot. The leading Qi clan cultivator only managed to let out a loud roar. Without the chance to use any cultivation treasure or arts, he was pierced through by Wang Beifeng's beam of light and turned into ashes. A divinity transformation cultivator launching a full-force surprise attack on a nascent soul cultivator, though not very honorable when spoken of, was quite effective. Wang Beifeng had no intention of feeling shame about this, and continued to decisively attack the other 3 nascent soul cultivators. And Lu Yi, from the shadows, protected the elder, for just the residual waves of spiritual energy alone would have been enough to tear him to shreds. At the same time, he carelessly launched a nascent soul realm sword light towards a Qi clan cultivator, casually participating. Human clan. The remaining 3 Qi clan cultivators roared angrily but couldn't even manage to escape, soon suffering heavy injuries. Quick, send a message out. There are human cultivators here, yelled one of the Qi clan cultivators whose arm had been severed. Another, covered in blood, took out a talisman. With the surge of spiritual power, the talisman disappeared into thin air. This caused the expressions on Wang Beifeng and the others to change slightly. It's a communication talisman. Kill them, then we leave, Wang Beifeng ordered. His mirror spun, shooting out a series of light beams that enveloped the 3 Qi clan cultivators. The 3 Qi clan cultivators only managed to scream a few times before they were slain. Gather the spoils. We will divide them after we leave. Wang Beifeng picked up the interspatial rings of the 4 Qi clan cultivators with practiced ease, making Lu Yi feel quite ashamed. He frequently ended up destroying the opponent's interspatial rings during battles, and until now, he had picked up very few interspatial rings. Indeed, he had been too wasteful. Let's go, said Wang Beifeng. Hold on. Lu Yi suddenly thought of something and looked towards the mortals who were still frozen in place. They had not anticipated that the 4 Qi clan cultivators, who had been swaggering about moments ago, would be killed in an instant. They were still somewhat bewildered. Lu Yi said, if they stay here when those Qi clan come, I'm afraid they will all die. Why not take them to a safer place as well? Upon hearing this, Wang Beifeng and the others paused, some frowning slightly. How long can we protect a few mortals if we take them with us? Qi clan cultivators will soon be here. Carrying these mortals might slow us down. Taoist Li, I know your heart is kind, but still let it be. Taking them with us, if the Sea Clan cultivators catch up, it won't be good for either us or them, Wang Beifeng also said. Lu Yi chuckled and replied, "Don't worry, my fellow Taoists, I can take care of them myself." Hearing this, the many cultivators were taken aback. Although there was some dissatisfaction, considering that Lu Yi was a disciple of the White Cloud sect, they didn't say anything more. Lu Yi told himself, "I must save these ordinary people." Task: save these ordinary people. Reward: 20 perfect grade Qi condensation elixirs. Accept the task, yes, no. Lu Yi. Well, the reward is actually perfect grade Qi condensation elixirs. How long has it been since these were rewarded? He's already at Cave Void, and there are still such rewards. Lu Yi accepted the task speechlessly. Although the reward was meager, this was not just because of the task. Since he had witnessed it and was able to help under the circumstances, Lu Yi was willing to give assistance to others. Of course, if his own safety was at risk, then he would not be able to do so. Lu Yi reached out, and all the mortals below rose into the air, circling around him, enveloped by strands of golden spirit light, protecting them within. This display, including the one presented by Wang Beifeng, caused the complexions of the cultivators to change slightly, indicating extreme control over spiritual energy. Even Wang Beifeng would find it difficult to perform this feat, naturally astonishing them. The mortals wore expressions of terror, and Lu Yi said with a smile, "Don't worry, there will be Sea Clan cultivators coming soon, and I will take you away from here. By the way, are all of you here?" Relieved, the mortals, including a middle-aged burly man, nodded vigorously. "Yes, Immortal Master, everyone's here. Thank you, Immortal Master." Lu Yi smiled. "There's no need to thank me, it was just a small effort." "Let us leave," Wang Beifeng said after a glance at the relieved mortals, without adding anything else. The other cultivators also cast a curious glance at Lu Yi, their eyes filled with perplexity, perhaps bewildered by Lu Yi's actions. Mortals could only live for 100 years, and to cultivators who had reached the nascent soul realm, they were far too insignificant. The two were not even of the same level of life. It was unexpected that Lu Yi would still make a move to save them. As for Lu Yi, he too had climbed from mortal to his current stage by cultivating step by step. He was merely following his heart, doing what he thought was right. The group turned into a streak of light and escaped into the distance. However, just after they had left for a few hundred kilometers, they sensed an enormously terrifying fluctuation coming from behind them. This caused the expressions of Wang Beifeng and the others to change drastically. This aura is at a Cave Void cultivator, a Cave Void Realm Sea Clan. To be updated later. Chapter 381, 173, involving the Time Tao. Chapter 381, Chapter 173, involving the Time Tao. This is bad. There's a Cave Void Realm cultivator among this group of the Sea Clan, and they arrived so quickly. Lin Ming felt a chill in his heart. Just then, two more terrifying presences emerged, striking fear into people's hearts like an abyss. Both were from the Cave Void Realm. Two more have come. In such a small area to have 3 Cave Void Realm Sea Clan members, Wang Beifeng's face turned pale. This group of the Sea Clan must have a plot, otherwise it wouldn't be possible to have so many Cave Void cultivators, Lin Yue said with a furrowed brow. In the entire Tiananmen, those at the Cave Void Realm would be considered strong, and there definitely weren't many of them. Even within the Sea Clan they were rare. Yet now, 3 appeared in this region, which was clearly unusual. This isn't something we can deal with. We're not far away from them, and if we're discovered, we're finished, a middle-aged man said with a frown, his expression showing a hint of fear. The other cultivators nodded in agreement, filled with worry. For a Cave Void cultivator, a distance of hundreds of kilometers wasn't a big issue. If they were to sense their presence, it wouldn't take long for them to be caught. However, what no one expected was that the overwhelmingly powerful presence rapidly moved in their direction. The color drained from Wang Beifeng and the others' faces. "Have they found us? How could this be?" Shock filled everyone, and Wang Beifeng, an old hand at the divinity transformation realm, was the first to react, shouting, "Split up and run! Every man for himself now!" Hearing this, the others nodded as well. At that moment, a massive black net expanded rapidly from afar, and with incredible speed enveloped a 100-kilometer radius of the heavens and earth, like a cage, trapping everyone inside. Wang Beifeng and the others' expressions changed slightly. This is the Black Water Net of the Black Water Flood Dragon Clan. It's the cave void cultivators of the Black Water Flood Dragon Clan that have come. I have heard that the Black Water Net is like an unescapable snare that can seal off the heavens and earth and detect spiritual energy. We can't run from it at all. Many cultivators started to feel despair. Why would the cave void realm powerhouses of the Black Water Flood Dragon Clan be able to detect us so quickly? Even for cave void cultivators, it should be difficult to clearly sense cultivators hundreds of kilometers away with the power of primordial spirit. Wang Beifeng couldn't understand. If even a veteran like Wang Beifeng couldn't figure it out, the other cultivators stood even less chance. Their faces were stiff with despair. If they were found by a cave void cultivator, their chances of escaping were slim. If that was true for the cultivators, it went without saying for the mortals. The terrifying presence surged, and even resisting was very difficult for the mortals. They trembled instinctively under the pressure of the vast, ocean-like terrifying presence. Although they didn't understand the affairs of cultivation, they knew that a formidable enemy had come. These immortal masters were no match for them. All the mortals were in despair. Facing cultivators wielding great power, they were too weak, their fates not in their own hands. Only Lu Yi and Yunzai remained calm, even conversing in whispers. Lu Yi, why are there 3 cave void cultivators here? I'm not sure myself. Maybe the Sea Clan is up to something. Capture one alive later and we'll know after a soul search. Understood. As they communicated, streaks of light rapidly approached them. The 3 leading figures were tall, wild-haired men. Their pupils were slits, filled with a cold and brutal color, and their bodies were wreathed in strands of dark, mysterious water, so dense and heavy it warped the space around them. All 3 were cave void cultivators. Behind these 3 cultivators were 6 other Sea Clan cultivators with similarly strong auras, but they still fell short of the 3 leading cave void cultivators. 2 were divinity transformation cultivators, while the other 4 were nascent soul cultivators. 3 cave void, 2 divinity transformation, 4 nascent soul. Wang Beifeng and the others could hardly calm their expressions. Soon, the group of Sea Clan cultivators arrived close to them. The 3 leading figures from the Black Water Flood Dragon Clan scanned the crowd with icy looks. You human cultivators have some nerve, daring to kill our Sea Clan strong. Killing our Sea Clan strong and thinking of running away. How ignorant of the heavens and the earth. Another cave void cultivator sneered at them all. The last cave void cultivator spoke calmly. Enough, serious matters take priority. Let's finish them off and leave. Hearing this, a cave void cultivator nodded and stepped forward, black water surging around him, obscuring the sky. I knew we shouldn't have made our move earlier, Wang Beifeng said, a bitter smile on his face. Lin Ming was even more full of regret. The other cultivators also had unsightly looks on their faces. The dangers of the Sea Clan battlefield were far greater than they had imagined. Who would have thought that merely killing a few nascent Soul Realm members of the Sea Clan would provoke 3 cave void powerhouses? Now regret was futile. While they were communicating in his mind, Lu Yu was saying to himself, I will kill these Sea Clan cultivators. Task: kill the Sea Clan cultivators. Reward: secret technique, small deduction skill, 10,000-year-old spirit jade, heavenly materials and earthly treasures black water Chuan jade, enhancement in water Tao enlightenment. Accept the task, yes, no. Lu Yi's eyebrows twitched, feeling somewhat surprised by the rewards of the task. He silently accepted the task. Then, as the cave void realm black water flood dragon cultivator's spiritual energy surged, Lu Yi stepped forward, with golden sword light emerging around him, and the sound of sword cries shook heaven and earth. Chapter 382, 173, involving Time Tao 2. Chapter 382, Chapter 173, involving Time Tao /2. Even the black water net in the sky was violently shaken by the terrible sword intent. Clothed in white, surpassing the snow with black hair fluttering about, Lu Yi, surrounded by swirling sword light, resembled a sword immortal. Feeling Lu Yi's terrifying sword intent, the faces of the 3 cave void realm black water flood dragons turned pale. Sword domain. Nascent soul realm. No, this person has hidden his cultivation base. It's definitely not just the nascent soul realm. To have mastered the sword Tao domain, could he be another sword Tao freak like that female sword immortal from the divine sword sect? The expressions of the 3K Void Realm cultivators were ice cold and solemn as they stared fixedly at Lu Yi, feeling a chill in their bodies. They felt a mortal threat. If the 3K Void cultivators felt this way, not to mention the divinity transformation and nascent soul realm cultivators of the Sea clan behind them, they all looked at Lu Yi in horror, their bodies continuously retreating. Wang Beifeng and the others, who had already been feeling somewhat desperate, widened their eyes in astonishment after feeling the overwhelmingly terrifying aura emanating from Lu Yi. Is this sword domain? Wang Beifeng watched Lu Yi's silhouette with a mix of surprise and doubt. Sword domain. Li Yun has actually mastered the sword domain. Is it so easy to grasp now? A nascent soul cultivator said incredulously. White Cloud sect, having mastered the sword domain, such a terrifying aura could it be? Lin Ming seemed to realize something as he watched Lu Yi, his eyes widening in shock. Hearing his words, the other cultivators also thought of something, looking at the white-clothed Lu Yi with faces full of shock. He's not Li Yun, he's Lu Yi. It's that immortal seed from the White Cloud sect. He's actually here. We were actually traveling with that immortal seed from the White Cloud sect. Wang Beifeng, including all the loose cultivators, were overcome with surprise, followed by immense excitement. All of their expressions were no longer as despairing as before. Lu Yi's combat prowess was well known. Even before his breakthrough to the cave Void Realm, he was already able to slay unification great powers. Now, after breaking through to the cave Void Realm, Lu Yi naturally only became stronger. It's Lu Yi. With him here, what of 3 mere cave Void Realm Black Water Flood Dragons? Haha, indeed, what of the Black Water Flood Dragons? What of the cave Void Realm? With Lu Yi here, do they even dare to act recklessly? One by one, the cultivators were brimming with excitement, their faces beaming with smiles. Hearing the discussions of these loose cultivators, the 3K Void Realm Black Water Flood Dragons frowned and coldly watched Lu Yi. Are you that Lu Yi who is called an immortal seed? Lu Yi's face wore a peculiar expression. He hadn't even been to the Sea Clan battlefield, and yet, unexpectedly, the Sea Clan had heard of him. Lu Yi naturally did not understand that during the battles between the Sea Clan and the Human Clan, there were exchanges especially with powerhouses like the Heavenly Dragon Saint Sun. And occasionally, people like the Heavenly Dragon Saint Sun would mention Lu Yi, causing the Sea Clan powerhouses to hear of him as well. Lu Yi simply smiled and said, I am Lu Yi. Learning that the person before them was Lu Yi, the 3K Void Realm Black Water Flood Dragons already had the intention to retreat. One Black Water Flood Dragon let out a low shout, and with a squeeze of his arts, the black water net in the sky contracted, enveloping Lu Yi and his companions. Within the black water net surged pieces of dark, mysterious water, incredibly dense and emitting a strong corrosive smell, highly poisonous. Go! The Sea Clan cultivators made a split-second decision and turned to flee. However, just as they had flown a few steps, a clear and melodious sword cry came from behind them. Then golden sword lights shone like the sun, countless immortal sword lights shredding the black water net into pieces, the mystic water evaporating. Threads of sword light like golden silk streaked across heaven and earth, weaving mysterious arcs in between. Subsequently, these golden sword lights instantly swept across each Sea Clan cultivator. In an instant, the 6 Sea Clan cultivators who were not at the cave Void Realm were directly turned into blood mist by the sword Qi, with even their nascent souls crushed together. The 3K Void Realm Black Water Flood Dragons felt a fatal threat and let out roars. Then 3 robust figures transformed into 3 flood dragons. The flood dragons had pitch-black scales and were thousands of kilometers long, like serpentine mountain ranges suspended in the air. Dark, mysterious water flowed around their bodies, and their aura surged dramatically. The 3 black water flood dragons reverted to their true forms, roaring as they shot out various cultivation treasures, performing different techniques to try to withstand Lu Yi's attack. However, even in their true forms, their actions proved futile. Just how powerful was Lu Yi's immortal sword intent? Even Yunzai, who was also an immortal body at the cave Void Realm, could hardly resist it, let alone ordinary cave Void cultivators. Almost in an instant, all sorts of treasures were slashed into pieces, and the techniques were directly extinguished. Then, dense golden threads sliced through the bodies of the 3 giant black water flood dragons, severing them into sections. Blood poured down like waterfalls to the ground below, creating deep pits in the mountains. a testament to the tremendous power contained within the blood of these cave void realm black water flood dragons. The physical bodies of the three black water flood dragons were annihilated with a single sword strike from Lu Yi, and their three nascent souls flew out, turning into three black streaks of light, soaring into the sky, attempting to escape. Lu Yi simply reached out, as if grasping heaven and earth in his hand, instantly immobilizing the surrounding space. The three nascent soul black water flood dragons were trapped in place, struggling in vain, unable to move an inch. Lu Yi beckoned, and the three nascent souls of the black water flood dragons were immediately pulled before him, their expressions filled with intense terror as they stared at Lu Yi. Chapter 383, 173, involving Time Tao 3. Chapter 383, Chapter 173, involving Time Tao /3. How can you possibly be this strong? Both at the cave void realm, why are you so powerful? The three black water flood dragon nascent souls were filled with disbelief. After Lu Yi made his move, his spiritual energy cultivation was revealed, and the three cave void realm black water flood dragons naturally sensed Lu Yi's strength. This made the three black water flood dragon cultivators even more perplexed. Both being cave void cultivators, why was there such a great difference? As a dominant species of the Sea clan, positioned among the human clan, they were considered as individuals of heavenly pride level. Three cultivators of the same realm facing Lu Yi, yet they couldn't muster even a slight bit of resistance. No, not just resistance, they couldn't even retaliate. Faced with the incomprehensible expressions of the three black water flood dragon nascent souls, Lu Yi simply smiled. It's just that you all are too weak. These three were far inferior compared to that blood spirit sect ancestor, who was also at the cave void realm. Lu Yi spoke no further. An immensely terrifying spiritual power surged, directly soul-searching the three nascent souls. Lu Yi had only searched for a moment when those three nascent souls released an immensely terrifying fluctuation. This caused Lu Yi's expression to change slightly, and he hastily grabbed the three nascent souls and threw them out, then swept out a sword curtain. The next moment, the three black water flood dragon nascent souls emitted a pitch-black light, like three black suns hanging in the sky. Boom! An incredibly terrifying booming sound erupted. The self-destruction carried by the nascent souls of the cave void realm was destructive, even causing Lu Yi's sword curtain to continuously shake. Outside the sword curtain, it was entirely pitch black. And when the black light dissipated, the densely packed mountains had turned to scorched earth, spanning hundreds of kilometers with pits everywhere, appearing extremely terrifying, as if a natural disaster had occurred. Even cultivators like Wang Beifeng at the nascent soul realm and divinity transformation realm were extremely shocked for a moment, let alone the ordinary people, all staring agape as if they had witnessed a miracle. Their eyes carried awe as they looked at Lu Yi hovering in white before the golden sword curtain. Immortal, a young child exclaimed. The others also remained silent. Such ability, in the eyes of ordinary people, was indistinguishable from that of an immortal. And even cultivators like Wang Beifeng had recovered from their shock, all wearing expressions of disbelief as they looked at each other. Although they had previously heard plenty about Lu Yi and knew his strength was extremely terrifying, hearing about it and seeing it firsthand were entirely different concepts. Watching Lu Yi effortlessly control the situation and casually kill three cave void realm black water flood dragons and fend off the self-destruction of three nascent soul realm black water flood dragons filled them with awe, their eyes filled with reverence. Lu Yi dispelled the sword curtain and sighed inwardly. These black water flood dragon cultivators, nascent souls, all had restrictions implanted. As soon as they were soul-searched, they would self-destruct. It was only because Lu Yi's spiritual power was strong enough that he managed to gather some information. Unfortunately, even Lu Yi could only access somewhat superficial information, and the legacy of the black water flood dragons was tightly protected. Even he couldn't soul-search their secrets. Lu Yi felt a bit regretful, but quickly let it go. Although the black water flood dragons, as a dominant species, had a fairly strong legacy comparable to the immortal sect Holy Lands, for Lu Yi, so long as he could complete tasks, the rewards would keep getting better, certainly surpassing those of the black water flood dragons. He had no need to be overly disappointed. While the soul search wasn't without gain, Lu Yi discovered the reason why they were found so quickly. Among these three black water flood dragon cave void cultivators One cultivated a secret technique that could trace back the killer's location before, long after the death of a cultivator. This was a very rare technique that even touched on a certain aspect of time Tao. Lu Yu was exceedingly envious upon seeing this. No wonder these fellows could lock on to their location so quickly. Unfortunately, the 3 black water flood dragon nascent souls had been obliterated in the self-explosion, and he didn't get the technique's cultivation method. If he could have obtained the method, perhaps by cultivating it to the extreme level, there would be a slim chance to glimpse the mysteries of the time Tao. Although the chance was slim, there was still hope. Lu Yu found it somewhat painful to miss the opportunity. Besides this, Lu Yu also understood why there were so many powerhouses here. The Sea Clan army was mobilizing to launch a quiet assault on an Eastern Domain Alliance army stronghold, namely an ancient city called East Bright City, a node in the Eastern Domain defense line. If they could capture it, they could push the front line forward by a bit in this region. The Eastern Domain was too vast. Even with the vast numbers of the Sea Clan and Eastern Domain Alliance army cultivators, they had to be split into several battlefields. The situation in each battlefield differed. This operation naturally targeted this battlefield. These 3 cave void cultivators weren't even the strongest in the Allied forces. The commander was a Mahayana realm black water flood dragon cultivator, and not just one. As for whether there were any tribulation crossing ancestors behind them, Lu Yu didn't know. His information was limited. Lu Yu raised an eyebrow, feeling somewhat intrigued. Wasn't this a task presenting itself? He muttered to himself, I must defend East Bright City. Task: defend East Bright City. Reward: 1 million year spirit jade, top grade spiritual artifact spirit light weak water robe, a boost in the water Tao realm. Accept task, yes no. Lu Yu's heart raced as he looked at the rewards. A top grade spiritual artifact. This was the first time Lu Yu received such a precious reward, and furthermore, it was a magic robe he could actually use. Not just that, there was even a 1,000,000-year spirit jade. 10,000-year spirit jade was already so precious, let alone 1,000,000-year spirit jade. One could only imagine how rich this reward was. Lu Yu accepted the task without hesitation. After accepting the task, Lu Yu then turned around to face Wang Beifeng and other cultivators, and the ordinary people. At that moment, Wang Beifeng and the other cultivators looked at Lu Yu with a hint of unease, while those ordinary people's expressions were filled with awe. Greetings, Lu Yu. Wang Beifeng and the other cultivators quickly bowed. Lu Yu was inwardly speechless. He had initially planned to interact with them as an ordinary person, but it had turned out this way. Post first, revise later tilde. Chapter 384, 174, Strengthening the City Protection Array. Chapter 384, Chapter 174, Strengthening the City Protection Array. Lu Yu smiled slightly. Taoist friends, no need to be courteous, just do as before. Upon hearing this, Wang Beifeng and the others had a somewhat peculiar expression. Lu Yu said it was so, but where would they dare to do the same? Everyone chuckled and Wang Beifeng spoke up. Thanks to Taoist Lu just now, otherwise we might have all died here. Yes, many thanks to Taoist Lu, the cultivators thanked him repeatedly. Lu Yu smiled. Since we are traveling together, naturally I would not stand by and watch you die. I was also hoping to follow you to find the senior brothers and sisters of the White Cloud sect. Upon hearing this, many cultivators smiled. Wang Beifeng spoke again. Since Taoist Lu said so, shall we continue looking for the disciples of the White Cloud sect? Lu Yu shook his head and spoke. Just now, I gleaned some information from the nascent souls of those black water flood dragons. Lu Yu conveyed the news that the black water flood dragon had secretly planned to send strong fighters to attack East Bright City. This changed the expressions of Wang Beifeng and the others. No wonder there are so many strong fighters from the Sea Clan in this area. It's near the territory of the Eastern Domain Alliance army, and it's unusual for so many cave void cultivators to appear here. I wonder if East Bright City has received the news. If not, being surrounded by a large number of Sea Clan cultivators could be very dangerous. Many cultivators were somewhat worried. This was about a major battle issue, even they did not dare to be negligent. Lu Yu spoke up. Therefore, I plan to take the news to East Bright City. If the Taoist friends do not wish to go, feel free to leave. Upon hearing this, many cultivators fell silent. After exchanging looks, Wang Beifeng spoke earnestly. Then naturally, we'll go with Taoist Lu. Lin Ming was also serious. This matter concerns the territory of the Eastern Domain. I will go with Taoist Lu too. Lu Yi glanced at Lin Ming. From the time they dealt with those four nascent Soul Sea clan until now, Lu Yi noticed that Lin Ming was somewhat indignant. We will go too to East Bright City with Taoist Lu. If we can bring back the news now, and if there's no other way to know this, that would be a great achievement. Lin Yue's eyes shone, somewhat expectant. Other cultivators were originally hesitant. After all, according to Lu Yi, East Bright City might become a battlefield which could be dangerous. Now, hearing Lin Yue's words, other cultivators' eyes also shone, and they expressed their desire to go together. Yunzai, naturally, does not need to be mentioned. Wherever Lu Yi went, she would go. Since that's the case, let's set off. Lu Yi smiled, then glanced at the commoners nearby showing faces of reverence and spoke. It's good to take them to the ancient city for safety. The commoners quickly thanked him with reverence. Thank you, Immortal Master. Lu Yi, unfamiliar with the area and unsure of East Bright City's location, was fortunately accompanied by Wang Beifeng and others who knew the area well, guiding Lu Yi and Yunzai as they flew towards East Bright City. Half a day later, Lu Yi and his group could see East Bright City. It was a huge ancient city, above which was drawn with incomparably mysterious array patterns exuding a rich aura of awe, with many cultivators patrolling the sky. These cultivators were all soldiers from the Eastern Domain Alliance Army. There were also many cultivators entering and exiting through the city gates. Lu Yi and his party, substantial in number and including quite a few commoners, attracted some attention, and many people looked over, puzzled. Lu Yi and his party were unconcerned, and soon arrived at the city gate. Lu Yi noticed a mirror hanging above the gate, flickering with dim light, reflecting each cultivator who entered and exited. Through the introduction by Wang Beifeng on the way, Lu Yi learned that this was a cultivation treasure of the investigation technique to prevent Sea Clan cultivators from infiltrating. However, this could only prevent the Sea Clan. Some human cultivators might collude with the Sea Clan to become insiders, and such cultivators were difficult to screen out. Additionally, there were squads of powerful Alliance army fighters guarding the gate. Lu Yi glanced over and surprisingly found 2 cave void cultivators. Cave void cultivators, being just under the Great Power, were among the most powerful cultivators, yet here they were stationed at the city gate, showing the importance of East Bright City. Lu Yi and his group stepped into the city gate. Once inside the city, Lu Yi found the city somewhat solemn, but compared to other ancient cities, it was still extremely bustling. Stores along the street were open, and both cultivators and commoners walked on the streets, which was very lively. However, while commoners were okay, the expressions of most cultivators were somewhat somber, since they came to the ancient city just to rest. Fighting outside for a long time, they were inevitably exhausted. After a moment of thought, Lu Yi took out some spirit stones and handed them to an elderly man who had been tortured by the Sea Clan cultivators. Earlier, Yunzai had used the power of nature to heal the old man's injuries. Take these spirit stones, exchange them for some silver money and live well in the city, Lu Yi said with a kindly smile. This made all the commoners tear up, and the leading elder staggered as if to kneel to Lu Yi, who raised his hand to stop him. Just live well from now on, Lu Yi smiled. Yes, thank you, Immortal Master. The elder teared up, and the other commoners were similarly moved. They bowed deeply to Lu Yi, and then to Wang Beifeng and the others before turning to leave. Watching the commoners leave, Wang Beifeng and the others looked at Lu Yi. Wang Beifeng laughed and said, Taoist Lu is compassionate, even unable to forsake the commoners. Lu Yi smiled. It was just a small effort, helping where I can, that's all. Chapter 385, 174, Strengthening the City Protection Array 2. Chapter 385, Chapter 174, Strengthening the City Protection Array /2. For Lu Yi, it was no hard task to bring these mortals to East Bright City, so why watch them die outside? Let's go find the city lord of East Bright City and inform them about the Sea Clan. Upon hearing Lu Yi's words, Wang Beifeng and the others all nodded. They asked for directions at random and quickly found the city lord mansion. Outside the city lord mansion, there were cultivators on guard. Seeing Lu Yi and his group approach, they immediately frowned and stopped them. Who are you? What business do you have at the city lord mansion? Lu Yi glanced at the 2 cultivators' attire, and his expression became somewhat strange. They were actually cultivators from the Tei Holy Land. All the major strategic strongholds and important points are guarded by cultivators from the Immortal sect Holy Lands of the Eastern Domain, as well as those from sects with a tribulation crossing ancestor. They are the main organizers and individuals responsible for the Eastern Domain Alliance Army. Lu Yi originally wondered who would be in charge of East Bright City. To his surprise, it was someone from the Tei Holy Land. Lu Yi smiled. I am Lu Yi, and I have urgent matters to discuss with the city lord of East Bright City. Hearing this, the two cultivators were startled, and their faces took on a strange expression. They examined Lu Yi with a look of shock. Lu Yi, the Lu Yi from Qingzhou. Lu Yi was originally a prodigy in array Tao, with extremely astonishing mastery in array patterns. Even the great powers of Tei Holy Land were greatly amazed, and had even wanted to invite Lu Yi to join their sect. Unfortunately, Lu Yi did not join. Even so, the cultivators from Tei Holy Land had all heard of Lu Yi's great reputation. It could even be said to be thunderous. Lu Yi smiled. Indeed, it is I. The two cultivators looked at each other, still shocked. One young cultivator spoke. Although I have never seen Lu Yi in person, I've seen his image. Lu Yi is very handsome, wouldn't be like you, right? With a smile, Lu Yi pointed his finger, and a most mysterious array pattern appeared, leaving the two Tei Holy Land cultivators staring wide-eyed. This is the unification array. Void condensing arrays to casually inscribe a unification array so effortlessly. Are you really Lu Yi? The two Tei Holy Land cultivators exclaimed again and again. Such proficiency in array Tao was rare, even among the great Mahayana cultivators of Tei Holy Land, which dispelled most of their doubts about Lu Yi. Lu Yi smiled. Yes, as for my appearance, I just used a little transformation technique. Lu Yi's face changed, and soon reverted back to his original appearance. Seeing Lu Yi's true form, the sense of doubt within the two cultivators nearly vanished entirely. It really is fellow Taoist Lu Yi. I didn't expect you to also come to the Sea Clan battlefield. You need to see the city lord. Come with me. The city lord is Elder Lin Yunfeng from our Tei Holy Land. He would be happy to see you. A Tei Holy Land disciple was very happy, and indicated they would take Lu Yi and his group into the city lord mansion. Seeing that even a disciple from an immortal sect was so enthusiastic toward Lu Yi, Wang Beifeng and the others were surprised. Lu Yi's influence was greater than they had imagined. Afterward, Lu Yi followed a Tei Holy Land disciple into the city lord mansion. The disciple asked Lu Yi and his group to wait in the hall while he went to find the city lord, Elder Lin Yunfeng. Soon after, a white-haired old man walked in. Upon seeing Lu Yi, a warm smile appeared on his face. I've long heard of young friend Lu Yi's unparalleled talent in array Tao and have always wanted to meet you. I never expected to see you here. Welcome, welcome. The cultivator's present stood up, and Lu Yi bowed with folded hands. I pay my respects to Elder Lin Yunfeng. Wang Beifeng and the others were also nervous as they paid their respects. This was a great Mahayana. No need for such formalities. Perhaps due to Lu Yi's presence, Lin Yunfeng wore a gentle expression and waved his hand. He looked at Lu Yi and asked, speaking of which, you mentioned you had important matters to discuss with me. What is it? It's like this. On our way here, we encountered a group of strong Sea Clan warriors. After killing a few Sea Clan cultivators, we learned that a squad of Sea Clan cultivators is secretly approaching East Bright City, intending to besiege it. That's why we hurried over to notify you. Lu Yi briefly explained what had happened. Upon hearing this, Lin Yunfeng's expression slightly changed as he frowned. The Sea Clan cultivators are planning to attack East Bright City. Yes, from what I understand, the team is led by 4 great Mahayana powers, and there are many other strong warriors. Whether or not there is a tribulation crossing ancestor behind them, I cannot be certain. This was the information Lu Yi gained through soul search. Hearing this, Lin Yunfeng's expression grew grave. 4 great Mahayana, they come bearing ill intentions. Can East Bright City withstand them? Lu Yi asked worriedly. Lin Yunfeng pondered for a moment before replying. East Bright City is an important stronghold in this region. The city protection array was created with considerable resources by the Alliance Army. It can withstand great Mahayana cultivators, but we have been battling the Sea Clan for decades, and they are quite aware of the array's strength. Since they dare to come, they might have a way to break the great array. This remark caused some concern to arise among Lu Yi and his group. What do we do if they manage to break through the array? Yunzai asked. Lin Yunfeng glanced at Yunzai with a serious tone. The Eastern Domain's frontline is long, the battlefield is vast. Even though the Alliance army is formidable, and we have many great Mahayana cultivators, they still need to defend each stronghold. Spread out, the forces are somewhat insufficient. There is only one great Mahayana cultivator in East Bright City Me. Facing 4 great Mahayana cultivators would likely be difficult. Chapter 386, 174, Strengthening the City Protection Array 3. Chapter 386. Chapter 174, Strengthening the City Protection Array /3. The atmosphere turned somber, and the expressions on Lu Yi and the others' faces shifted slightly. Who among those who had cultivated to the Mahayana realm were weak? Each was a formidable existence who had mastered a domain, and viewed as heavenly pride figures across Tiananmen, undoubtedly prominent figures in their youth. Reaching the Mahayana realm, the difference in each realm becomes more distinct, making it extremely challenging to fight across realms. Even though Lin Yunfeng was an array Tao practitioner who could prepare great arrays in advance for positional warfare, facing 4 cultivators of the same realm could still be overwhelming. Lin Yunfeng's gaze flickered momentarily before he spoke. If I set up the great array in advance, I might be able to stall them, but they dare to come even knowing we have the city protection array, so perhaps they possess treasures that counter formations. If the great array I set up is also broken, the situation may not be optimistic. Upon hearing this, silence fell even deeper among Lu Yi and his group. The expressions of Wang Beifeng and the others changed. With that being the case, wouldn't East Bright City be in great danger? Lin Yue said nervously. After a moment of contemplation, Lin Yunfeng spoke. Although the great Mahayana cultivators within the Alliance army are few and far between, I can still call for reinforcements and ask a few friends to assist. However, it would take some time for them to arrive. I hope they can make it in time. With this thought in mind, Lin Yunfeng spoke urgently. Lu Yi, my young friend, I need to check the status of the sect protection array. Your mastery in array Tao is profound. Come with me to take a look. Upon considering this, Lu Yi's expression changed slightly. Elder, are you worried about a traitor sabotaging the sect protection array from within? Lin Yunfeng's expression grew grim as he nodded. Indeed, I have such concerns. Similar incidents have occurred before. Lu Yi nodded knowingly. Is it the incident at Earth Chaos Mountain? Even before Lu Yi had been in the White Cloud sect, he had heard about the incident at Earth Chaos Mountain. It was also a strategic point for the Alliance army, just like East Bright City, due to a traitor among the human cultivators who sabotaged the mountain protection array from within. It was eventually breached. The battle was incredibly fierce. Almost all the Eastern region practitioners stationed at Earth Chaos Mountain were wiped out, and even the stationed Great Mahayana Great Power failed to escape, causing a sensation across the entire Eastern Domain. This led the Eastern Domain Alliance army to implement the most brutal punishments for traitors. Despite this, human nature is ever fickle, and various circumstances kept the issue of traitors from being completely eradicated. Lin Yunfeng nodded, yes. After a pause, Lu Yi spoke, no problem, I'll go with the elder. Lin Yunfeng glanced back at Wang Beifeng and others before he spoke. The city protection array is crucial. They cannot go. Wang Beifeng and the others quickly reassured. Elder, rest assured, we will not approach. Only the information you've brought this time is extremely precious. You've performed a great service. Once this matter is concluded, I will report it and you will be rewarded for your military merits, Lin Yunfeng said. This caused Wang Beifeng and the others' eyes to sparkle. Then their expressions turned bitter. The situation seemed quite dire. They might not survive to leave. For now, I will have someone take you to rest. You must be tired after traveling such a long distance to deliver the message, Lin Yunfeng said. Wang Beifeng and the others naturally had no objections. Lu Yi contacted Yunzai telepathically, telling her to rest as well. After all, the identity of an immortal body is quite sensitive, and it's better not to expose it if possible. Yunzai naturally followed Lu Yi's advice without objection. Afterward, Lin Yunfeng led Lu Yi to a secret chamber deep within the city lord mansion. A giant stone infused with mysterious star radiance stood there, etched with a dense network of array patterns, emitting an intensely oppressive force. By the side of the stone, 2 elders were sitting cross-legged. The aura of these 2 elders was incredibly profound, both of them being Unification Realm great powers. Upon seeing Lin Yunfeng, the 2 elders nodded slightly. Seeing Lu Yi, they paused momentarily, somewhat astonished. Then one elder raised an eyebrow in surprise. Lu Yi, my young friend, I didn't expect you to have come to East Bright City. Lu Yi found the elder somewhat familiar, and then suddenly remembered that he had seen him somewhere before. Back in the ruins of the Immortal Sword Sect, among the unification great powers of Tei Holy Land, he was there. Lu Yi smiled and said, Elder, it has been a long time since we last met. Elder Lin, what's going on? The other unification great power looked puzzled. Lin Yunfeng's expression was serious as he responded, Lu Yi, my young friend, brought the news that the Xi clan is planning an assault on our East Bright City. To be cautious, I came to check the array eye, and Lu Yi accompanied me. The two unification great powers' expressions shifted slightly upon hearing this, their demeanor becoming grave. We will definitely guard the array eye, ensuring it remains secure, the two unification great powers affirmed by nodding. Lin Yunfeng also nodded slightly, then turned to Lu Yi. The level of array Tao mastery Lu Yi, my young friend, demonstrated back then was already extremely high. After all this time, it has likely even improved. Let's examine it together to see if there are any issues with the great array. Lu Yi nodded, observing the dense array patterns on the array eye with some awe. Such a large star shining stone, truly impressive, and the array patterns are quite profound as well. Lin Yunfeng smiled slightly. This array was personally inscribed by a tribulation-crossing ancestor of our sect. Hearing this, Lu Yi was taken aback, then realized. No wonder he felt the great array was complex, even with his current level of array Tao mastery, which was nearly at the limit of the mortal world. One could imagine how powerful this great array was. If it was personally inscribed by a tribulation-crossing ancestor, then that made sense. The level of array Tao mastery of a tribulation-crossing array repairer of Tei Holy Land was terrifying to think about. Lu Yi walked around the star-shining stone, carefully examining it, then shook his head, no problems. Lin Yunfeng was also examining carefully. Hearing this, he nodded slightly, showing a smile. I also found no issues. It seems the great array is fine. Let's leave then. Just then Lu Yi spoke. Elder, hold on a moment. I have a way to strengthen the city protection array. Hearing this, Lin Yunfeng and the two unification great powers were all taken aback, their eyes widening in amazement. Update first, revise later tilde. Chapter 387, 175 Peerless Melding Array Technique. Chapter 387, Chapter 175 Peerless Melding Array Technique. You say you can enhance the city protection array. This is a great array personally etched by the tribulation-crossing ancestor, Lin Yunfeng exclaimed in astonishment. Lu Yi nodded. Yes, although the array patterns I have mastered are far inferior to those of the tribulation-crossing predecessor, I have special inscription techniques. The array patterns Lu Yi obtained as a reward task were fundamental in array Tao, including Xianxia, mainly explaining the basic usage and analysis of array patterns. Even the most complex great array is derived from basic array patterns. The myriad changes are inseparable from them. Additionally, Lu Yi had obtained a fragment of an innate killing array pattern, which provided him with quite a bit of useful information on array Tao. Even with such array patterns, Lu Yi could incorporate killing arrays. Lu Yi muttered to himself, I will strengthen the city protection array of East Bright City. Task: strengthen the city protection array of East Bright City. Reward: insight enhancement in array Tao realm, Great Mahayana array, yellow sky earth element formation. Accept task, yes, no. Lu Yi was thrilled. The task reward was so generous, even providing a Mahayana realm array, truly remarkable. Lu Yi accepted the task, and after some contemplation, he took out a piece of unification realm white star iron, onto which he inscribed a series of complex and mysterious array patterns. Lin Yunfeng and two other unification great powers were cultivators from Tei Holy Land, who had mastered exceedingly profound array Tao skills. Seeing the array patterns arranged by Lu Yi, they all displayed looks of admiration. What exquisite craftsmanship, such rapid array drawing speed. Is Lu Yi, this young friend, linking several unification arrays together to form multiple great arrays? Hiss, such a small piece of white star iron actually integrates dozens of unification arrays. This technique is too exquisite. The three were immensely astonished and kept praising him. Lin Yunfeng said, even I am not as good as young friend Lu Yi in this technique. This way of drawing arrays might be comparable to the old ancestor, right? The other two unification great powers also showed shocked expressions and nodded repeatedly. Incredible, young friend Lu Yi is only in the cave void realm, yet possesses such array Tao mastery. He is naturally an array Tao immortal. It's a pity he cultivates sword Tao. What a waste of natural talent, lamented in unification elder. Lin Yunfeng's expression was peculiar as he said, "It is rumored that the heavenly dragon Holy Land visited the White Cloud sect once, where Long Ming ancestor said that Lu Yi was a naturally talented individual meant for the body cultivation path." The three exchanged looks, their expressions strange. Lin Yunfeng sighed, "The young people of today really are remarkable, array Tao, sword Tao, body cultivation path, cultivating all three paths and achieving such heights. Indeed a rare genius," the three sighed in admiration. Meanwhile, Lu Yi had already inscribed complex array patterns on the white star iron, using the secret technique learned from the innate killing array pattern fragment. With both hands moving, he connected the white star iron to the array eye. The incomparably mysterious array patterns were like heaven sent, turning into dazzling beams of light, linking them together, seamless and traceless, without any discordance. This left the three array Tao great powers dumbstruck. Is this, Lu Yi, this young friend, linking two array eyes together? Lu Yi, this young friend's small array eyes attached to the city protection array, can enhance the power of the city protection array and add other formations. This technique is unheard of. The three couldn't comprehend Lu Yi's technique. What's most precious is, there's no discordance at all, and this is an array pattern drawn by the tribulation crossing ancestor. Even other tribulation crossing array repairers might find this difficult to achieve. The three exclaimed in awe. Lu Yi exhaled slightly. This was a secret technique he learned from the innate killing array pattern, which could flawlessly connect two types of array stones, complementing each other, much like attaching an external device to enhance a machine's performance. This secret technique, Lu Yi named it melding array technique, a profound ability with a bright future, of which Lu Yi had only grasped the mere basics. After all, he only had a small fragment of the innate array pattern, limiting what he could learn. If he could master a large amount of innate array patterns, perhaps he could elevate the melding array technique to the level of immortal technique, or even stronger. For now, Lu Yi could only merge a small number of array patterns, which was still quite weak. As Lu Yi reflected, the three Tei Holy Land great powers were astounded. They examined the flickering light at the connection, completely baffled by how it was achieved. Lu Yi turned and smiled at the three, "Elders, it's done." Lin Yunfeng's expression was odd as he praised, "The secret technique used by young friend Lu Yi is something even my Tei Holy Land has never seen before. Truly magical." Lu Yi smiled. "It's a secret technique I happened to acquire by chance, but sadly its effect is very limited, only able to enhance the power of this city protection array by about 30%. Pity that, if his melding array technique were stronger, directly linking 100 array eyes to the city protection array's array eye, it could enhance the city protection array by several times. Then, even if the tribulation crossing ancestor came, he would only be able to stare helplessly." Lin Yunfeng. The two unification great powers. Watching Lu Yi's modest and regretful smile, they were all astounded. Damn, this could be a great array created by the tribulation crossing ancestor. You, a mere cultivator in the cave void realm, casually enhancing its power by 30%, and you say its effect is limited. Chapter 388, 175, Unparalleled Melding Array Technique 2. Chapter 388, Chapter 175, Unparalleled Melding Array Technique /2. So, do you intend to double the power of this formation? The three were numbed, at a loss for words for a moment. Seeing the strange expressions on the three's faces, Lu Yi was somewhat puzzled. "Senior fellows, what's wrong?" "It's nothing." Lin Yunfeng came back to his senses and shook his head. Then he said earnestly, "Lu Yi, my young friend, your skills are astounding. If East Bright City can be defended this time, it will be largely due to your great contribution." Lu Yi smiled. "As a cultivator from the eastern region, I also don't want the Sea Clan to be able to strut around in these parts." Lu Yi thought of the common folk from before when there had already been quite a few corpses, all killed by the Sea Clan cultivators. Because of the Sea Clan invasion, just the tragic scenes Lu Yi witnessed were countless. Over these decades, there must have been innumerable such incidents. Lu Yi's heart also grew a bit colder. He chuckled. "It's just a pity that I'm not strong enough otherwise. I'd really like to drive the Sea clan back to the sea." Hearing Lu Yi's words, Lin Yunfeng and the two unification great powers looked at him with even more warmth in their expressions. Lin Yunfeng laughed. "Ha ha ha, you young fella, you're still young. Us old bones aren't dead yet, we'll stand in front for sure. You youngsters will naturally have enough strength after some years." Lu Yi too smiled. Then Lin Yunfeng said, "All right, now that the city protection array is in good shape, I feel somewhat relieved. I'll go and contact the strong ones at other strongholds and a few of my old friends, hoping they can come over to support us as soon as possible." Lu Yi nodded. Afterward, Lin Yunfeng and Lu Yi left the secret chamber. Lin Yunfeng bid farewell to Lu Yi and had a disciple of the Tei Holy Land lead Lu Yi to where Yun Zai and the others were. Wang Beifeng and the others were arranged to stay in a courtyard. Although the disciples of the Tei Holy Land were not aware of Yun Zai's specific identity, they knew that her relationship with Lu Yi was out of the ordinary and arranged a separate courtyard for her. After arriving at the courtyard, Lu Yi saw Yun Zai sitting on a stone bench in the courtyard, waiting for him. Seeing Lu Yi return, Yun Zai stood up, walked over and asked with concern, "Lu Yi, how did it go?" Lu Yi smiled. "There's no problem with the city protection array, I even strengthened it a bit more." Yun Zai nodded slightly and said, "That's good, but if the Sea Clan experts dare to attack knowing there's a city protection array, I'm afraid it is still not safe." Lu Yi also nodded, his brow furrowing slightly as he said, "That's true, Senior Lin Yunfeng has already gone to notify the reinforcements, hoping they can arrive quickly." Yun Zai nodded gently, Lu Yi looked at Yun Zai and then showed a smile. "We haven't had a good rest for days, and now that we finally have a place to rest, let's rest well." Seeing the familiar mischievous smile on Lu Yi's face, Yun Zai stiffened, her pretty face flushed, and she rejected, "No way. A big battle is about to begin, and you will make me too weak to fight. That's very dangerous." Lu Yi with a serious face, "Really now, Yun Zai, what do you take me for? When we're outside, I always know my limits and won't leave you without strength." Lu Yi carried Yun Zai and walked towards the room. Inside the room, Lu Yi set up a great array before initiating dual cultivation with Yun Zai. Lu Yi indeed knew his bounds. They were, after all, in the dangerous Sea Clan battlefield, and with a formidable enemy on the horizon, Lu Yi would not do something as foolish as rendering Yun Zai unconscious. After dual cultivating for a short while, Yun Zai's cheeks were flushed, her black hair silky and smooth, lazily lying on the bed. Lu Yi, holding Yun Zai, began to check the task rewards he had obtained during these days. Because of the various tasks on the Sea Clan battlefield, there were naturally many minor tasks, and the most generous rewards came from only 4 of them. Task: Killing 4 Sea Clan cultivators, completed. Killing Sea Clan cultivators, completed. Send a message to warn East Bright City of the Sea Clan's attack, completed. Strengthen the East Bright City protection array, completed. The first task, killing 4 Sea Clan cultivators, took place in that valley, where he killed 4 Sea Clan cultivators of the nascent Soul Realm. Although Lu Yi had only unleashed a single sword strike, he found out that as long as he participated, the task would be completed. Since the task's target was only 4 nascent soul cultivators, the reward wasn't extraordinarily good. It was 100 drops of 1,000-year-old spirit marrow and an enhancement of water Tao understanding. Lu Yi put away the 1,000-year-old spirit marrow and did not claim the enhancement to the understanding of water Tao yet. The second task, killing Sea Clan cultivators, involved killing those pursuers who were Sea Clan strongmen, including 3 Sea Clan cultivators of the Cave Void Realm. The task reward was fairly generous. It included the secret technique, small deduction skill, 10 pieces of 10,000-year-old spirit jade, heavenly materials and earthly treasures black water Xuan jade, and an enhancement of water Tao understanding. Lu Yi checked the small deduction skill, secret technique, and then his eyes widened with surprise shimmering in them. This secret technique, somewhat similar to deducing the flow of qi and heavenly destiny, allowed Lu Yi to deduce some simple things, such as the location of a target person, their status, and so on, using the small deduction skill. Of course, if the target were powerful, the deduction would most likely fail, and even if the target were not strong, the range wouldn't be entirely accurate. It could only point to a general area. This was already very powerful. After all, it was a secret technique involving the heavenly mechanism. The moment Lu Yi encountered the small deduction skill, he thought of the elusive Mist Island. According to what Brother Jiang Fan and the others said, Mist Island was always moving and didn't have a fixed location. Originally, Lu Yi didn't have much confidence in finding Mist Island, but with the small deduction skill now in hand, he was full of confidence. Chapter 389, 175 Peerless Melding Array Technique 3. Chapter 389, Chapter 175 Peerless Melding Array Technique /3. Perhaps he really could find Mist Island. That was an island associated with immortals, and the task rewards were substantial. However, to deduce the location of Mist Island, he probably had to cultivate his small deduction skill to a very high level, perhaps even to the extreme level, to have a chance. Lu Yi placed the small deduction skill at the forefront of his cultivation sequence, ranking it equally with the small void technique. With the small deduction skill, this task was already a big harvest, and in addition, there were 10,000-year-old spirit jades, also good stuff. The black water Xuan jade, a heavenly material and earthly treasure of the unification realm, was also impressive. Lu Yi did not immediately use the comprehension of the water Tao he had attained, planning instead to claim it later. The task of warning East Bright City about the Sea Clan's attack was one Lu Yi had set for himself on the way to East Bright City. Task: Notify East Bright City of the Sea Clan's attack, completed. Reward: 1 million-year spirit jade, 1 instance of water Tao enlightenment, designated skill level +2. Would you like to claim the reward? Yes, no. Perhaps because this task involved the whole East Bright City and also the great Mahayana of the Sea Clan, what was merely a messaging task offered exceptionally generous rewards. And there was even an enlightenment instance. Although it was only about the water Tao, it was still incredibly precious. You should know, the enlightenment instances Lu Yi had obtained so far were mostly from his master, and once was a Sword Tao enlightenment instant during the Sword Tao conference, a task related to the Immortal sect Holy Land. One could imagine how difficult it was to obtain such enlightenment instances. And the million-year spirit jade was equally valuable. There was also an instance of upgrading a designated skills level. One could say that this task was easy, yet the rewards were high. It couldn't be more thrilling. The final task was to strengthen the city protection array of East Bright City. The reward was also substantial, including an enhancement of Array Tao Realm Comprehension and a Mahayana Realm Defensive Array, the Yellow Sky Earth Element Formation. Lu Yi first looked at the Yellow Sky Earth Element Formation and found that this formation wasn't a killing array, but belonged to defensive arrays. Through its array patterns, it could absorb the power of the Earth for its own use, condensing the Yellow Sky Earth Element Field and Yellow Sky Earth Element Shield, enough to withstand the attacks of ordinary Great Mahayana cultivators. And because the power source was the absorption of Earth's power, it was extremely durable. As long as the shield wasn't broken by absolute power, the Earth's power would continue to replenish, almost indestructible. You can imagine how powerful this formation was. After claiming these rewards, Lu Yi then began to receive the comprehension-type rewards. Both tasks offered the enlightenment of the Water Tao, and Lu Yi also received a chance for Water Tao enlightenment. Naturally, it was best used now. Without hesitation, Lu Yi immediately used the Water Tao enlightenment instance, and then began to claim the rewards of Water Tao comprehension. Suddenly, colorful mist surged within the sea of consciousness in Lu Yi's brain. Tao Mi began to capture the sounds of the Tao, and various mysterious Tao patterns related to the water intent realm appeared in his mind. On the surface of Lu Yi's body, water vapor condensed, anomalies slowly emerged, including clear rivers and serene lakes, as well as towering angry waves, blooming water lilies and roaring water dragons. The anomalies of the water Tao completely condensed around Lu Yi. Originally leaning against Lu Yi's chest, quietly listening to Lu Yi's strong heartbeat and enjoying the intimacy, Yunzai was startled as she saw various fearsome anomalies emerge around her and showed an astonished expression. This is the water Tao. The water intent realm. No, is it the water domain? Yunzai was incredibly shocked. This was her first time seeing that Lu Yi not only mastered the water Tao, but had even comprehended it to the level of a domain. You should know, Lu Yi's main cultivation was in the Sword Tao. How could he be so terrifying in the water Tao as well? What surprised Yunzai the most was that Lu Yi's water domain was increasing at an alarmingly fast rate. Originally just below 10% of the water domain, It quickly surpassed 10% and continued to increase. This dumbfounded Yunzai. Even though she was an immortal body, it was her first time witnessing such a scene. It was almost hard for her to believe. The mysterious Tao patterns of the water Tao flickered within the anomalies, and even Yunzai vaguely sensed some of the mysteries of the water Tao, eventually even comprehending the water intent realm herself. This left Yunzai extremely shocked. Just from Lu Yi's single instance of comprehension, she had unexpectedly gained insight into the water intent realm. It was as if, when one person attained the Tao, everyone around them ascended with him. Fortunately, because Lu Yi used a very powerful array to ensure privacy for their dual cultivation, the anomalies from his comprehension of the water Tao did not spread to the outside. As time passed, a day later, Lu Yi's enlightenment instance expired, and he slowly opened his eyes emitting streaks of deep blue light, with mysterious water Tao patterns flickering within. As the light and Tao patterns faded, Lu Yi's eyes returned to their pitch-black color. It was indeed an enlightenment instance of the water Tao, plus the reward of enlightenment from the task. In just one day, Lu Yi had raised his water Tao to 20% domain level. Such a rapid improvement was too exaggerated, even more so than the recent days of dual cultivation and sparring with Yunzai. It must be said that enlightenment is forever divine. At this moment, Lu Yi noticed a gaze upon him. He looked down and found Yunzai leaning against his chest, looking up at him. Lu Yi smiled. "Did you rest well?" Yunzai nodded slightly. "Yes, this time wasn't so exhausting. If every time could be like this, that would be great." Lu Yi flashed a bright smile. "That's impossible because this way I'm completely not satisfied. If we were back in the sect, I definitely couldn't have ended it like this." Lu Yi felt Yunzai's body stiffen momentarily, then she showed a resigned look, casting a wistful glance at Lu Yi, then surprisingly said, "I didn't expect that you also mastered the water domain, Lu Yi." Lu Yi smiled. "Well, it was a serendipitous gain previously, and also my White Cloud sect brother Jiang Fan, who has mastered the water intent realm, shared some insights during our sparring, and I also gained some comprehension." Yunzai listened quietly, leaning against Lu Yi's chest. Her lips curled up in a proud smile. "My Taoist couple is truly a genius." "Indeed, shouldn't you know who I am?" Lu Yi responded with immense pride. Just then, an incredibly terrifying aura dispersed from far away, carrying an intense, murderous intent. This made both Lu Yi and Yunzai jolt, their expressions fierce. "See clan. They're here."